So, to make a relatively long story fairly short, our first few days of attempting to get set up in Escadar have gone less than spectacularly. We have a lot now. We have some land. We have a place that we can set up and put on a show under the obligation that we put on a show when it's successful and profits and can be taxed by the city within 2 weeks. But also, the land they gave us is subpar. I feel like subpar. Is that too severe? It's not like...
It was pretty subpar.
I mean, it's just fairly hostile, I would say. I mean, besides, if there weren't anything trying to kill us, it would be great.
But you could say the same for so many things, though. Especially in Pathfinder. This would be great if everything wasn't constantly trying to murder us. Well, after dealing with a pack of incredibly aggressive wolves, a greater Barghest, some will-o-wisps, a bunch of very angry centipedes, and what seems to be largely the swamp itself rising up as a massive animate blob to try to pretty much actually just eat everyone. When we left off last week, we were very tired, I believe.
Yep.
Across the party, near everyone, pretty mortally injured, having been, well, severely wounded in this ensuing battle to take back the swamp so we could do a circus show. Not even in it, just vaguely nearby it without horrible stuff happening. We were heading back over to our circus grounds. And we begin today's adventures right there, really, as the group of you limp, stagger, and hurry as you can out of the tree line and back into the field that's being cleared for your big top, which at this point is, well, at least more done than not. It certainly will have passed its halfway point by now, but it's still going to need another day or two of effort to get cleared out enough to start putting up the tent, especially because just before coming to Escadar, the group of you had invested in a significantly larger tent, a much bigger canopy to host your shows in, with much more seating. So, as we return back to the circus grounds here, I feel like at this point, the group of you limping in, absolutely soaked with your own blood and torn most of the way to death, is starting to lose its shock value for the rest of your show, the rest of your co-performers, who aren't really that surprised anymore. It's gonna be less of Tulip noticing and rushing over to make sure everyone's okay and like nobody's dying or anything, and it's probably gonna be a little more of Tulip sighing, calling out, "I'll get my tools. I'll be there in a minute, loves," and heading over to her wagon to get her medical supplies to come help.
Gotta get my tools.
And so she would, of course, coming to meet the group of you, looking across, because this will be an odd one, as no one's really too massively physically battered. I mean, it's not like you were torn apart with claws and swords or anything here. You were just electrocuted repeatedly by some will-o-wisps and then, well, partially dissolved by a massive pool of acid. Tulip, as usual, will absolutely volunteer her help to assist in healing and patching up the group of you. But as it's still only mid-afternoon, and Arabis is at this point quite good at this, the group of you are more than capable of bringing yourselves back up to fighting shape given the rest of the evening.
I would take a little trip into town and get my things.
What things?
The things I commissioned.
Oh, right. Heading back over to acquire Remind me what you commissioned. I know it was something in a tailor, but I forgot the specific.
I commissioned the Black Jester suit
Black
and
Jester
the
suit, that's what it was. I know it was part of the-
refitting of Thunder's garments.
That's it. I knew it was something related to Thunder. That I was thinking the hat was already good, and I was like, you didn't need the hat. So you would be able to get both of those. Your Jet Black Knight Assassin Jester ambush gown, as well as Thunder's own costume, shorted far down to fit your gnome figure. The rest of you, I imagine, are probably not super willing to go anywhere, as you are the three who are barely alive at this point, having been actually beaten unconscious by this ooze back in the swamp. So given the remainder of the afternoon, it would be no trouble for Arabis's fairly long-term care to bring everybody back up. So if you can all go ahead and reset your health back to full. The only thing that you would stumble with, that you would find difficulty, is Zerg. Whatever happened when he inhaled that burst of mold or pollen or moss, whatever it was in the cave, that seems to be pretty well beyond your ability to treat. It's something that's entirely internal, and something that seems to have pretty severely ravaged his lungs. That's beyond even severe external wounds. You don't even know how you would begin dealing with that beyond some salves and tinctures, which don't really seem to have much effect other than maybe a bit of relief for him. But with this day passing, I actually realized an interesting thing, which is kind of meta and not entirely relevant to specifically just this campaign, rather. With Selwyn's things gathered and the rest of you, I am sure, just recuperating for the evening and sleeping off the worst of your wounds. You're going to awaken on the 18th of Moon Day. The 18th of Frost, a Moon Day, which is the day that our Age of Ashes session on Saturday started. The two campaigns are concurrent right now. They're completely concurrent. They're actually happening exactly alongside each other to the very day at the moment. They caught up chronologically, rather, with all of the jungle adventuring they've been doing on the long scale. But as you awaken for another day to see what your roustabouts have wrought, it seems certain that with another afternoon's work, they will have the lot at the very least cleared away, most of the boulders removed, the thorns and brambles and the overgrowth torn out, ready to begin setting up the tent and preparing for your show. That said, you also know there could very well be some more lurking in that canyon behind your lot. Certainly something you wouldn't want to draw the ire of with a full-blown 3-ring circus, which you're trying to make money off of. So, party, what's today's plans?
I'll put on my black clothes, and it's time to go finish whatever is out there.
Well, the novelty of being able to feel pain is really worn off, and I do not appreciate it anymore. That was quite brutal, but hopefully next time I will be more prepared to get my ass handed to me, or what, as the saying goes.
You're a plan, you don't have an ours.
Oh, this is true. Well, next time I hope Gazra will be kinder, because I was really surprised Gazra did not lend a hand there. It is quite brutal.
I wouldn't bet on it.
Bark butt.
How do you hand someone their ass, Selwyn?
Well, I mean, you just tear off the bark in the general area and then hand it to someone, I guess.
Oh, so it's literal.
Yes.
You know what? Sure.
Wow.
It's much more painful for humans, I would assume.
It's more of a metaphorical thing amongst humans, but I'm sure amongst the Leshy culture, it's absolutely just literal.
Ah, I see.
What are you drinking, Selwyn?
Something that dulls the pain.
Oh, okay.
I'll take a swig of my
He's got
my
straight
technique.
rubbing alcohol at this point. It's gotta be what Selwyn's going into, I'm sure.
I'm gonna have to transition into sniffing glue soon.
That kills her, it's
Already
just a
got a
bonus
fifth.
at that point.
Yeah.
So, readied really as you can be. Anybody got any special preparations or anything you're readying in the morning as you put your spells together, ready your weapons, Selwyn, and Barkbeard, what do you even do in the morning?
Well, I normally sit there very still for about an hour.
Just kind of attuning yourself to the land, I guess.
Well, yes, I have to remember that I am a tree first and foremost, and I have to remember the etiquette of most proper trees, which is sitting very stilly.
Ready?
All right. That's fair. You got my question before I could ask
Yeah.
it. Fair enough. So,
Treat a
ready,
kid.
yeah, ready as you can be, anyway. A group of you set to head out once more into this canyon, into the tree line to go deal with whatever it is that may still be further. But as soon as you start taking a few steps, the professor actually hails you. Hold on, Selwyn, wait one moment. Kind of not so much hurrying as shuffling a little faster than he usually does. The professor isn't getting around terribly
Gallivandering.
quickly. Sure, well, gallivandering's pretty good. And as he comes up, I haven't heard anything of what's been happening out there. You all came back late last afternoon, seemingly half dead, patched up, retired to your wagons, and you just headed off into town. What's even been happening? How many wolves could possibly do this? It didn't see any claw marks.
Hemlock had his ass taken from him.
Quite so.
Well, we started off yesterday by clearing out the wolves, no problem. Then there was a bar guest, no problem either. Slashed that thing to pieces in moments. Then there were the ghosts. That was a problem.
Wait.
Flaming skulls aren't fun. Mm-mm.
See? Well, they weren't flaming, they weren't lighting.
The ghost thingies were like, relatively fine. And then the general death blob was
the swamp
much
attacked
more,
us.
I would say. Yes, that was
Right, yes.
much.
No
That
dire
was
frogs,
not-
though, so, positives all around.
That is true. We did not find any dire frogs. Zerg was quite disappointed, actually.
Well, while I kind of regret asking, at the very least, I suppose I'll let the roustabouts know they should, gather wood elsewhere. I suppose it's worth the walk most of the way back to the road to haul lumber from there, since you seem... I can't help but think... No.
No, it's all good. We'll figure it out. Well, just keep cutting wood there. We'll have that thing cleared out.
Well,
later, but-
it's not the wood so much as the general situation. It's you keep finding yourselves in down there. This
There can only be so many deadly things in one place before, they would surely
well,
cut
it
down on
seems
a
like
large...
this has an exceptional amount of deadly things, and
I would agree.
we were set up here specifically. Surely the menagerie doesn't court enough influence in Escadar to have any say over actual civics of the city itself.
You'd think so, and yet the wolves were indirectly because of the menagerie. Do you remember the smiling goblin?
Oh, this was some
Grinning goblin?
time
Was that
ago.
what it's
the
called?
grinning
Yeah.
goblin? Yes. He was had the ragged top hat with the
Right, yeah, and hit the smile.
lid having looked much like a can opener. Right? The lad couldn't even close his mouth right. He was with the sideshow.
Right, yes. Turns out, actually, Bargust was what were causing the wolves going into a frenzy.
You,
So,
the grinning goblin was a bar guest, and he
Yes.
was here.
yes.
This raises a huge variety of questions, and honestly, I'm not even positive where to start with them, but it seems, well, I guess none of us expected to be able to just step to Dusklight's doorstep without any retribution, though I wonder if we've made a mistake in coming here, Selwyn. And
No,
trust
it's
me,
all
I'd
good.
like to shove it up her arse as well as anyone, but it's not worth dying over.
Look, at this point, I'm just committed.
Yeah, we have done a fair bit, and if we were to back out now, that would be a really big waste of everyone's time.
Fair enough, I suppose. And I'd like to think my musings are just those of a paranoid old man, but finding
Nope, definitely not.
one of her actual assets here certainly changes things. Well, I'd say be safe, but the group of you don't seem to hear much of those words, do you? So at least I'd try to make it back. We've got to start planning for this show soon. We've only what day is it? Moon Day? Only about 10 more days before they're going to be expecting a taxable performance.
Right, plenty of
And
time.
we'll want to spend at least a week of that advertising.
Right.
Anyway, yes, we'll finish as we can here, wrapping up this lot, and, well, not much I can do to help you with your end of things, but, well, best of luck.
Thank you.
He seems almost not so much blowing this off as just kind of distracted by his own train of thought here. Like he's at this point still talking to you, but his mind is almost completely elsewhere, running through completely, well, tangentially related possibilities. And as he leaves the group of you to head back off once more into the trees, once more into the breach, lads. I imagine following the map towards the only thing that still seems to possibly be of interest, really. You know it denoted some kind of a castle keep out to the eastern end of the swamp, and you know that this trail east of you only really leads to the cave mouth, which means we are heading back into the swamp. So as you travel
So-
forth here, what's everyone doing?
I'm
I'm gonna be looking out.
Blackbeard and
doing
Selwyn
some-
both on super alert now. No, not wanting anything like that to happen again.
Yeah, I'll be searching.
How about you, Ara?
Because that's the one. That's the perception, right?
Right, all right. Well, I mean, you don't have to tell me
Okay.
like the mechanics of what you're doing. I'd actually prefer
Well,
you did.
I get.
But
Well, I get the seeking and searching confused a lot.
seeking is searching. You mean scouting?
Well, no, scouting, and
Yeah.
I get scouting and searching confused.
Fair enough. Yeah, scouting is the keep alert for danger initiative bonus, which is largely just mechanical. And I guess we do have to some extent say which we want to do mechanically, because I'm not honestly positive what the RP line is between those two actions. But anyway, Ara.
I'm keeping an eye out for any more will-o-wisps. I'm probably gonna be scouting.
Any lights in the distance are no longer to be trusted. And Arvis?
Looking for ambushes and hidden dangers. How about that?
So everyone's going to be very on edge here. I see that we are no longer comfortable with the nice swamp, and everyone's all super spooked. So as you make your way back down across the log to this central island with the old ruin, where the land here is sunk almost down into the swamp itself and the ground becoming so soft, it's almost easy to forget that anything had even taken place here. I mean, there's other than the frenzied footprints in the soft earth, there's nearly no indication of the battles that had happened in this very spot yesterday. I mean, the ooze itself and its defeat largely just splashed back into the water and the soil, and with a day's passage, is impossible to tell it was ever even here.
So, we're supposed to go that way? There's not really a path that way.
Looking down to the southeast, though, the trees and the walls of the canyon itself actually do a pretty good deal to block out a lot of the light here. It's still dim. You can still see down. And there is just about 15 or so feet of wet morass between you and the next bit of land and further fallen trees. And given how dark the waters are and the murky nature of the swamp itself, it's impossible to tell if you would just be wading through this or swimming.
Well, I've never tried swimming before, but it can't be that hard, right?
Nope, surely not. Go for it.
Okay. It's all in the instincts, right? I'm sure they'll kick in at some point, and I guess I'll jump into the water.
Do trees have an instinct to swim?
No, we do not. But, it's not that counts.
So as you just jump on in here, I mean, being a Leshy and a gourd Leshy at that, wood already pretty much floats, and you are categorically mostly hollow. So instinct aside, I imagine it's pretty much freaking impossible for you to sink in still water. I mean, it's not flowing anywhere other than just a small amount from the breeze gently blowing through the canyon, causing a bit of rippling. There's no current. It's a standing bog. So
could I use Barkbeard like a surfboard?
I could take down my tower shield and take it off and just put it on the water. I'd sink my head under it. We're like, all right, guys.
I'll step on the tower shield.
And then I'm gonna try and move 5 foot that way.
So Barkbeard will be able to quite literally ferry Selwyn across this with relative ease.
Perfect.
As you're swimming through reeds and cattails here, the water itself, though it's certainly a bit too deep through the middle for Barkbeard to stand, again, poses no real challenge to swimming across it. And the bog does not attempt to eat you. It did that yesterday.
Woohoo!
I think we solved that problem.
So yeah, just ferry people across.
Just jump in and swim across too.
Oh well,
now it is relatively slow going. The swamp is fairly thick and overgrown, and even in the waters here, so you can't go across it quickly. It's probably a process of near 5 minutes just to get the group of you across this relatively small gap to the far shore. But from here, at least, once again, you are on dry land for now, with yet another moss-encrusted log stretching from this island to much drier, rockier ground, yet further to the east. Literally everybody who is seeking, so everybody but Ara who's watching the trees and the water.
Wait, no, I'm stealthy.
Frogs.
I'm sneaking.
Oh, you're sneaking? Oh, I thought you said you were seeking. Sneaking.
No, I'm sneaking.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you said that too.
Oh.
Arabis and Barkbeard, then go ahead and roll me perception checks.
20.
Oh,
Sick nat one, bruh.
yeah.
Good
Get it
start
out.
to the
Get
day.
out now.
At least I started first.
Yeah, Aravis, as you come across, slicked with this wet, almost thick mud hanging to you as you climb up on this island, you're a little distracted here. Barkbeard, however, you would notice that this log does look a little bit different from the rest of those in the swamp. Though across its top is a thick layer of moss clinging across it, much like everything else down here and everything at least near the morass itself. The underside of this log not only looks like it is perfectly clean from any kind of moss or growths, It actually looks like a lot of the bottom of this log has been removed entirely, and this is largely a mere shell branched across the lands. Almost certain not able to support even Selwyn's weight. You and Ara can probably cross it, but...
We could just ferry across over here, too. This log looks mostly useless, I would say. Any problems with that?
Can I acrobatics to hop from like the one end of the log to the other?
You can acrobatics to jumping across it is categorically athletics. That's like one of the things athletics does. But you can attempt to kind of like move really lightly across it.
Yeah,
you can absolutely give me acrobatics for that.
I would like to. 27.
Yeah, with a 27, knowing of the dangers, you would be able to quickly and very deftly make your way across to the other side. But even with that, you would see the log bow and bend. Not much more than an outer shell of bark.
Not getting wet today.
Well, that's fair, actually. You rode across some bark, but you didn't get wet.
I'm going to attempt to just walk across it.
You weigh almost literally nothing, right? Like,
yeah, like 20 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, you are an actual leaf Leshy. You don't take fall damage. You're so light, so you could certainly just walk across it and barely anything will be visible. Barkbeard's just in the water.
I quite enjoy this water thing. As my head kind of floats above it. Oh, I thought it's hard to tell sometimes.
And you are, just by the fact that you are much larger than everyone else. I mean, Barkbeard would not be able to very easily carry you swimming, but it would be more like a life preserver that you could hang on to as he paddles across. But as you make your way across this, it would be very evident almost immediately that, you can just stand the whole way across. It's not that deep. It comes up to your waist at worst. But still, I imagine you cling to Barkbeard for safety as you make your way across to the other side. Better safe than sorry, right?
Well, that was invigorating. I quite enjoyed that.
That's your workout for the day.
Quite. We should probably relax for the rest of the day. What is this? What is this?
Trees for that.
Well, probably not, I would say. It's bad for, limbs in general to bend too much or have too much stress. But I'm sure at some point there might be some working out involved. I've never tried, actually.
So here toward the eastern end of this canyon, the ground starts to move up a bit as the canyon is really narrowing. This crevasse ending not too much further along. The ground raises up. And this embankment you're on, even here on the southern end, is a relatively steep hill that you ascend up out of the swampiness. And this water up further along by this next log at the far east end of this is flowing down into the swamp. Not much more than a very small creek. But this water, free-flowing and clear, its current keeping it clean and keeping it from turning into a mire like that's just stagnating down below. Yet another massive log stretches across a small creek here, which you can clearly see isn't even knee-deep to most of the small characters. But this one appears to be unnatural. There's no sign it's fallen from anywhere. There's no hole where its roots once left. And the log seems to be placed pretty intentionally to serve as a bridging support across these, much like the first one that led into the swamp.
I find this one very, very suspicious. Maybe we should just jump across.
Good idea. I'll hop across the fitness point here.
And it was not even going to require an athletics check or anything. It's narrow enough that any of you could spring across this creek pretty easily, unless you literally have a negative athletics modifier.
What about a 0? Well, I might have a negative. Well, let me double check real quick here.
I did.
Yeah, that's a negative. Okay. I'm gonna walk across the log. How about that?
All right. And certainly no check will be required to walk across the log. Very much intentionally laid here for that purpose. The log does not explode when you try to cross it and kill you. So,
Sweet.
Everything good so far. But as it raises up here, and as this hill continues upwards, into the point of this crevasse. You can even see from here an ancient weathered keep perched much further up the hill. The crumbled stone slabs of its sides blending in with the natural granite of the canyon walls. You would be able to see it. It's not. I can't make it super visible on the map because of dynamic lighting reasons. But it's right up on this hill to the east of you, up a fairly steep embankment. Much like the sides of it's the side of the canyon itself. It's just perched above. Over a little further to the east here, you can clearly see a stairway. And I can actually... Oh, right. Global illumination breaks everything now, is why I don't turn it on anymore. You can clearly see a stairway carved into the side of the canyon, about 20, 30 feet over, that winds its way up to a weathered wooden double door set into the southern side of this tower.
Well, this is quite interesting, I guess. This is much more interesting than the weird slimes from yesterday.
Just a set of stairs.
But it's a cool set of stairs.
It looks fun.
Yeah, and
right,
it really
yes,
is.
alright.
What's in front of you is just a steep stone wall with these carved steps winding up it. I know that this is one of those points where the map you see does not really represent what you're seeing in front of you at all because of dynamic lighting.
Mm.
It's all visible, like this isn't in any way hidden, directly in front of you, well lit from the sun above.
Cool. Well, I guess I'm gonna be checking for any loose stones or anything where the sides are gonna collapse and avalanche and spring a trap that's like really horrifying.
I may regret this, but I believe that I can just doink this and let you see it a little better.
Ooh.
'Cause that's more akin to what you're actually seeing there.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think those needed to have dynamic lighting on them. So as you all move forward, the staircase is relatively narrow. Would be incredibly difficult to proceed anything other than single file up it. So go ahead and line yourselves up. How you making your way up the stairs? And as you proceed upwards, Selwyn, at the moment, there's going to be basically no real opportunity to hide here as you're pretty exposed just walking up the hillside. Barkbeard and Arbus and Selwyn, if you want to at the moment, because you can't really keep yourself hidden, you want to roll me some perception checks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man! I'm blind as a bat today.
Yeah. Hot one.
That's nat 1 and a nat 1. Arvis doesn't see anything.
26.
Well, it's a good thing Selwyn has turned her attention forward. Perhaps with some of her life's knowledge jumping out at an opportune moment, you would notice a very thin tripwire drawn across the stairs just before Barkbeard steps into it.
I'll call him. What? Up. Wait. Tripwire.
A tripwire. This is very exciting.
Holding him back, just like, what? Don't, if you step in it, bad things gonna happen. Let's step around it.
Ah, yes. Well, can we see? Do you know what it would, trigger or anything? It's just a tripwire going into a wall over here?
No, I don't know what it would trigger, but I would also prefer not to find out.
You can see it running through an eye hook on the side, the tripwire extending further up the hill. But it's made of such an incredibly thin filament, and the granite of the stone is kind of speckled. It's not a smooth gray slate or anything, making it nearly impossible to follow where it goes with your eyes from here. But it definitely continues up to something up the hill near the keep. But
right.
Alright, can we just step over it? Is that something we can do? Is it very difficult?
You can attempt. You can just try to step over it. This steep staircase put around is a little bit. It's strung over. It's a little bit awkward to navigate. And Selwyn, as you look at this, this is little more than an actual hair, and the slightest touch would trigger this thing.
Can I
honestly are
disable
not
How
sure
high
if
is
it's
it?
safer to attempt to. It's probably about 1.5 feet off of the ground.
Hmm.
You're honestly not positive it would be safer to try to disarm it safely or to try to move past it.
Well, I have not disabled the device yet, so I'm going to try for that. Let's try it. Let's see if I can disable this device. Hey, I would like for you all to give me space. Get down the stairs. So if I get killed by a tumbling rock, it's just me.
Okay.
Don't get killed by tumbling rocks, Selwyn.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of fans out around the bottom of the staircase here.
You're doing a good job, Selwyn.
I'm going to offer a brief prayer to Nivi. Please, by the good graces of my goddess, allow me to high roll once more. I will session reroll.
Nivi is not listening, or she thinks
She
this
is
is
not.
funny. One of the
Yeah.
two.
She probably thinks this is funny.
5 on the
29.
die into a 16 on the die. A 29 actually is pretty close. But
Oh,
very
shit.
cautiously, as you're down, you take hold of the wire. And just, even with just the barest bit of a blade, the slightest touch severs the lower half of the tanker on the southern side of the staircase. Where you're left holding what's left of it to very slowly, very gently release the tension on it. And as you slowly slacken it, it's moving a little bit, you're able to see that it is attached to what just looks like a small wooden board. Maybe about a single plank, honestly, about 4 inches high and about a foot across, that's set up next to the door. Barely perched up, that would be pulled free, releasing whatever's behind it to tumble down the stairs. It can't be anything particularly large. But watching that, you release the tension in this string so cautiously that this board gently, just gently lays down without releasing the payload of what appear to be perfectly smooth, polished, egg-shaped gray stones.
Ow.
About a half dozen of them.
All right, guys. Genius at work. Did it once again.
Like palm size. They're just little egg rocks.
That's where rocks come from.
Can I recall knowledge and see if this is indeed where rocks come from?
I don't know how do you want me to answer that? What do you want from me?
Well, do these rocks look like just weird rocks, or is this like
Not
dragon eggs that if they are cracked open, like dragons will spew forth and lay
Well,
more dragon eggs?
If you move up to the doorway to where they are, if you continue on up the stairwell here, getting up to them, you would be able to see that they certainly don't look natural. Again, they're perfectly round, polished to a near reflective, almost mirrored surface, each of them looking completely identical to the rest of them. And they, beyond that, don't look to be natural stone either. They seem very light for their size, almost hollow.
Well, these would be good for a game of Conquerors. I guess I'll put these in my bag.
What kind of game is that?
Well, you throw them at other ones, you know, and whoever gets closest to the end is the one that wins. But we should try it out later.
I would really like to play the game. Yes.
Sure.
So
Perfect.
you
Then I'll
have
just put it
6.
in my bag.
Yeah, you got 6 of these little eggs here. And
Cool.
as you move up to the door of this keep, Barkbeard, I think I misspoke saying it was a double door. It is just a single wooden door it leads into. As you can see on the map, it's not a very large, it's not like a massive castle or anything. It looks like a single, almost smallish guardhouse of some kind. But you can hear voices on the other side. Strange, kind of high-pitched, almost chittering sort of voices. But they seem to be speaking common.
Ah. Is this the situation that we should knock on the door? Is that how this goes?
No, we should listen in and hear what's going on, and I'll
That is a great idea.
put my
So
head
as you
on
step
the...
up and listen. At the door, you can hear what appear to be two voices talking. Well, I'd say back and forth, but one of them seems to be speaking. It seems to be a very one-sided conversation. No, you see, that's what makes it interesting. It's because it's not intuitive. It's not that it doesn't make sense. It does make sense. It just doesn't make sense naturally. See, if you think about how it works, it ends up getting factored out entirely. The radius is irrelevant because it's just a relationship between two different circumferences. That's why it's neat.
I'm gonna open the door and say, "What the hell are you talking about?"
I think they're talking about the circumference of the Earth.
And as you open the door here, you see a trio of rat folk who don't look terribly well kept.
It's always Skaven.
They look that their clothes are wrinkled, ragged, and worn, torn in places, and look like they haven't been changed or washed in generations, possibly. And they are sitting around a small stash of alchemical equipment. A bunch of things set up in various racks and different kinds of alembics and filters set up around that are currently working on something. One of them sat almost cross-legged on the ground, has a loop of twine just wound around her hand that she's pointing to another one that's kind of kneeling down, looking at her. And another one across the room is flipping through a book of some kind. And as soon as you open the door, all three of them look up immediately and shriek almost in unison, scrabbling for things off of the ground and turning to throw whatever they managed to grab at you.
Wait, no, hold on.
They are not holding on.
Oh.
I'm going to need you to roll me some initiative.
Well, unlucky for them. I was just curious. I just wanted to know what they're doing. Oh, that was perception. Whoops.
Oh, can I?
That time I rolled a 2. 1, 1, 2.
Oh man, you're getting up there, man.
Yeah, double, twice as high, dude.
You're really really
Oh
impressive.
man, I forgot what it was like to actually have like a Roll20 pre-built campaign. I can click roll initiative again. I got used to having to set everything up manually. They're also very fast.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
Dirty rats.
Yeah, they are rats. They're very quick.
I specifically told them to hold up.
Yeah, he did tell them to hold up. So
Yeah.
maybe they'll hold their turn.
Yeah, right?
Dude, I requested the opposite of this. So the one in the back holding a book is he's already standing and looking towards the door, and he's the first. He drops the book immediately and reaches down to a belt with a whole bunch of various flasks and vials on it and pulls out a small, square, green flask. Lish, get out of the way! And holds his hand and waits. And Lish is going to scramble into the back of the keep here, and grabbing some stuff off of the ground in each hand as she runs pretty low to the ground. And then she is going to turn around and chuck a bottle of something towards Selwyn. And this is going to fly out at you.
I can't even see her.
It's going to fly at you for an 18.
Well, luckily for me, the door's in the way.
Yeah, you do have cover for sure from this doorway here. You and Barkbeard in the doorway.
I don't really make sense of that. I don't see this thing coming at all. It's just clients. They're like, what was that?
So does it critically miss or just regular miss?
It just regular misses.
So as it explodes, in a blast of fire across the doorway, you and Barkbeard are both going to take 2 fire damage as this splashes across you.
Ah.
And Lish is going to call it, "Who the hell are they? Have they come after us?" And throw the thing on the other hand towards Barkbeard. And this is gonna fly out for an 11 towards Barkbeard.
And it also hits the door. We're very small, and we can just hide behind the door really easily.
And as this second thing bursts across the door, you're each gonna take 2 cold damage.
Yeah.
And then with Lish out of the way, the rat with the book is going to then pitch his green flask forwards towards Selwyn as well. We got plenty to throw. It doesn't have to be this way. Just leave. And pitches one.
I was saying, hold on, I just want to talk.
This is gonna hit you for a 30.
Oh. Ow. It just hits me out in the mouth. I wasn't waiting for this.
All right. So you are going to take 3 acid damage as this vial bursts on you, and seems to do, well, not much, honestly, for a much of a big show of a blast it made. Barkbeard, you're going to take 2 acid damage as well. And then he is going to pull out a second of those square green flasks from his belt and throw it at Barkbeard. And that's going to come in for a 20.
And that's going to exactly, as I look over at Selwyn with the acid splashing, that's going to exactly hit me.
You're going to take the same thing. You're going to take 3 acid damage. Selwyn's going to take an additional 2. And you're both going to get hit by this big blast of this thin, almost just like soda. It's lightly fizzy, sticky, thin green liquid that splashes across you and hurts a little, but getting hit with the glass bottle seems to hurt more than whatever was inside it. And that rat is going to then scamper past his ally back further into the keep, into cover. The one on the ground sitting there with the string still tied around her hand, still pointing at it, is just looking kind of wide-eyed towards the door. It just blows up in the doorway as they two-fisted shovel shit at you. Selwyn.
All right, I'm gonna stomp past this one to the jerks that have been tossing shit at me. All right, I'm not gonna kill you because clearly, insulting life, all that. But you are gonna catch these hands, and I'll drop my weapons, and I'll start fist fighting.
All right. You don't draw your weapons. You start punching. All right.
And the good old twin feint. For the first hit, a 20.
20. Well, this rat does not really seem to be wearing much for armor. They've got some leathers, almost just barding drawn around them, but Lish is going to duck out of the way of that one. They are very quick.
And seeing the speed, I kind of reassess. But we're going to hit him with the kidney shot. Unlucky. That was,
they're quick.
Yeah.
They're not armored, they're quick. You're quick, they're also very quick.
Stand still!
This one this last one's gonna quickly scramble up to their feet. And as you're fighting here, it's almost a few seconds delay. You feel an extreme burning across your skin, and you're gonna take 11 acid damage.
Oh, wow.
And then roll me a flat check to see if the persistent damage continues, as whatever splashed across you starts to dissolve you.
11.
This one stands up and pulls a little bottle as well, and looks at you, Selwyn, and kind of thinks for a second, and looks back towards the door. The string's still wrapped around her other hand, and she calls out, "Are you clowns?
What?
Why are clowns coming after us? I don't understand!"
No.
And throws something at Barkbeard in the doorway. It's going to come in for a 19.
And it hits the door frame again.
And you're going to take 2 fire damage. And then they're going to scamper up around past Selwyn here, trying to worm past you into this same hole that everyone else is retreating into. And as they get up by, they're actually going to turn and try to push you back away from this little hole they're all retreating into. It's going to attempt to shove you against your Fortitude DC for a 17.
I stand firm.
All right, Ara.
Shoot. I'm gonna move forward up to right in front of Barkbeard, and then just blast the one directly across from Selwyn with a produce flame.
This center one?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
The one who threw a lot of stuff.
It threw a lot of stuff. I rolled a 16.
As he threw his fire past Selwyn here, as they're all just kind of scampering through what doesn't even look like a doorway so much as just a crack, a hole that has been worn out in the back corner of this keep that leads back further into just a cavern that's been dug out. There isn't much of them to hit, and that's going to burst across the stone next to them and bring us to Barkbeard.
Okay, I am going to peel off that side of Bark, kind of on the, or I guess on the left side of me. Left side of me, just kind of peel off. It's sizzling a bit, and I've seen with Selwyn that it ends up disintegrating it. So I'm just going to peel off that kind of bark and try and stop the poison damage.
Okay, so if you want to take 2 actions to try and literally just rip your own skin off, roll me a flat check. 11 plus to see if it ends.
Okay. 16.
And it does. You manage to draw off enough of the your own outer bark before it eats away further, leaving you with 1 action left.
And then I'm going to move forward and stand next to Selwyn.
All right, Arbus.
I am going to walk up to the stairs right behind Aura and reach my hand
somehow
over top his head. Pale blue cracks appearing on her wrist as she holds out her hand, and lightning arc both of them from here.
All right, as electricity surges between the pair of them. Right, I don't have to manually roll. I can click the reflex button because it's a pre-made roll 20. The one on the left is going to get a 26. The one on the right is going to get a 20. So left succeeds, right fails.
Correct. For 10 damage.
Okie dokie. So is this lightning cracks between the pair of them. The one in the corner here calls out, "Lightning! They got lightning! We got lightning!" And then moves back further into the hole, grabs another bottle, and holds it. "Sniggles, get back here!" Waiting. And the other rat is going to pop out around the corner, see the pair of you casting things in the doorway, and just pull out another vial and pitch it over the heads of Barkbeard and Selwyn across the keep towards Ara. Now that you're in the room and do not have cover, a 28 to hit you.
That hits.
And this explodes in a return blast of fire, which is going to hit you for 14 fire damage. It's going to hit Arabis for 2 fire damage, and it's going to set you on fire. And then he is going to scamper back down behind the corner. You hear him rattling around for some more bottles. Selwyn.
Right.
Jesus.
I'll look at the one in front of me. Hold still so I can beat you better. And I'll intimidate him. Wait, 28.
20. That's one off of a critical success, so she's pretty intimidated. This is the one that still has the twine tied around her hand. And she looks back in the corner. Lesh! Why are scary clowns coming for us?
Why do you just call me? You're gonna... Whew, and start punching it. Over 25. On a 25 on the first attack.
25 is absolutely going to connect.
Yeah, and then the follow-up. This time, I've scared him. I've put him into a vulnerable position. The kidney shot must succeed. For a 28.
28's going to critically strike. Ooh. On his flat-footed with frightened 1. That's exactly a critical success.
Sick. For 16 damage.
Alrighty, and with a solid 16.
Oh, that's actually wait. Is that 1d6 more? I don't think I've updated my punching since I got.
Roll another d6 and we'll double it too.
Yeah.
Another 8
8
damage. A solid punch. Almost down on all fours. She is just gonna run away back into this corner here in this small little rounded what is it, a buttress of a keep? Not even looking back, just like, no, scary clowns, no! And just cower in the corner. Just sequestered as far back into the corner as she can get. Doesn't throw anything, doesn't do anything else. And as she gets out of the way, Lish is going to take her ready to action to throw her vial at Selwyn now that the area is clear.
You hollered.
And this bomb's going to come in for an 18.
I, with almost superhuman speed, dodged out of the way. I'm pumped now. I'm pissed.
You and Barkbeard still going to take 2 fire damage each, though.
Yeah.
And additionally, as you kind of move and your own outfit rubs against your skin, you feel more and more of it almost sloughing off, like your skin is just literally boiling off from this acid. You're going to take an additional 7 points of acid damage, and then give me a flat check to see if your acid ends. It does not.
7, so I do not believe it does now.
Ara.
I'm going to Ara. So
I can tell them apart.
I'm going to move up to here and cast a 2nd level Burning Hand so it hits both those guys and does not hit Barkbeard because of how the 15-foot cone reaches.
Okay, yeah, because you can put it out of this corner of your square here and have it blast out so it doesn't hit Barkbeard. Yep. The southern one's going to have cover, so its reflex save is going to be a bit higher, but the northern... It's reflex save, right?
Yes.
Northern rat is going to get a 31, ducking out of the way entirely. And southern rat's going to get a 26, ducking back against the wall, not protecting him as much as he hoped it would. He's going to take 8 fire damage. And then you are going to take 2 fire damage because you are on fire. Let me give me a flat check to see if that ends.
Only way I would prefer it.
You are still on fire. It's a DC 15 for it to end naturally. Barkbeard.
I'm going to toddle around the backside of this guy. And why are you fighting us exactly? Get into my roots kind of stabilize me, and then I just walloping hit to the guy in front of me.
Okay.
Nothing. Like this. 27.
27 will connect.
Oof.
For 17 damage, and then an 18. A 13. Yeah, 12.
All right, reeling for the first hit, he's going to duck out of the way the second. But Lish is going to hit back at you. You come back for your things, haven't you? Or if not that, the wolf beast sent you. Already still reaching for more vials.
More vials. Ugh.
Aravis.
Okay. So that Selwyn dissolving with acid, is that something I see happening?
It's pretty visibly apparent with how much acid damage she's taking that she would literally be steaming coming off of her boiling skin.
I'll run in next to Selwyn. Now, is that see, because it's if I battle medicine, would that be the same thing as like trying to stop that?
So we had this persistent talk on Age of Ashes, as a camp the other day. Generally, you can't help somebody else overcome their own persistent damage, with the exception of bleeding, which you can use medicine to try to stop.
Right.
You can use 2 actions to try to stop your own persistent damage. But but you can heal her. There's not much you can do unless you have something specifically against persistent damage that can stop her from boiling. But you can battle medicine her health back. It will forestall her dissolving.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do then. Attempt to keep my Selwyn alive. Some expert medicine of mine. Take this off, take that off, stop burning.
Ooh.
And let's,
I'm burning with hatred. You can't stop me.
So close. 29 medicine.
With a 29 on your medicine check there, that was 1 off of a critical success for an expert, unfortunately. But as you stick, as you put your hands on her trying to do what you can, you feel almost kind of guided in tending to this and aiding her here. And that is actually going to critically succeed. He's going to get 4d8 plus 10 back.
That's really
The value you got out of that item that we totally haven't discovered what does. But, you know, it's very easy to figure out at this point. It's happened quite a lot, and I feel like it's happened way more than it has any right to.
It's just so many one-offs. She's just very lucky.
Yeah. It's a Stormlord.
She's blessed by Galzera.
Come on, get it. Look at those numbers.
Look at
okay.
those
I take it back.
numbers!
The
35
Stormlord.
health back to Selwyn. Get a completely top her up. We're at least gonna reset the dissolving skin back on you.
Yeah, I take it back. I'm sorry.
Zerg, meanwhile,
You're right.
woke up and at the bottom of the stairs is very confused as to what the fuck is going on right now, or where everyone is, or why he hears explosions up this hill. You want to roll me some initiative?
Oh my god,
also
imagine
muted.
we're having this
You're also
same
muted,
trap. And he just ran into it.
Yeah, imagine if you hadn't disabled the true
Yeah.
player. Sir, just fucking standing. Oh man, I'm almost
Unlucky.
sad.
That is
Yeah,
that would have been pretty hilarious.
unlucky gamers. We'll get him next time.
You got 1 action left, I believe, Arvis.
Oh, shield up.
Alrighty.
That's not-
So, let me see. Is Mono, Mono, you're in roll 20. You wanna? Here's a token for you. We're over here.
Is he still doing free?
He's muted, I
He's
think.
muted. I see hardcore pantomiming. He's he's fixing some stuff.
He's doing
So-
his best.
Lish is gonna scamper back away from Barkbeard, further back into this chasm here, and call out, "We didn't want any of this. We weren't trying to start nothing. It was you. And we're not giving it back. Not now. Well, except this one." And throws a vial out at you.
Oh, bitch!
And Barkbeard is gonna come at you for a 29.
And that does it.
And as this, Mono looks so fucking
God.
concerned. As this,
He said his computer was freezing.
oh no, it's
We
gonna
cannot hear you now.
Unlucky.
I'll tell you if we hear you, Mono. As this
yo.
small,
Oh,
Yeah,
there he is.
yeah, we can hear you.
Hey!
That was the scariest fucking thing that's ever happened to me in my whole life. I couldn't hear anything. It was like, and then this wasn't working, and everything was frozen. I'm sorry. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mono.
this curved flask explodes across Barkbeard with a almost crystallizing frozen mist as it blasts across you. You are going to take. Roll 20 is also kind of chunky. You're going to take 10 cold damage. And this freezes almost immediately a sheen of ice across your body that you feel it massively slow you down as it hits. And Lish calls out again, "Just stay over there. We don't want any. And put this back on." And throws another little green flask at you. For a 17.
And that misses.
So you're going to take 2 acid damage from the splash as it bursts across the wall behind you. The southern rat here is going to see you, poke his head out, see everyone else, probably hear Zerg beating fucking feet up the stairs outside, coming up towards this and just kind of hiss out, sure are a lot of them. I don't know if we can handle this whole group. We only got so many bombs. Throw another one out towards Ara in front of him. And this is going to blast across you for a 23.
It hits.
And it splashes for 12 fire damage on Ara and 2 on Selwyn. As the rat calls out, "It's a goddamn plant! How much fire can it take?" and heads back behind the wall again.
You'd be surprised.
Zerg, you want to roll me some initiative? You want to get on this action?
That's probably a good idea. Am I super loud, by the way? Am I alright?
No, you're great.
Okay, cool. Initiative, da! Yeah, 24.
Perfect, because that would mean it is now your turn. So you hear a lot of shouting and explosions from a keep set up atop the backside of the canyon hill here at the top of these stairs. It's going to take you 2 moves to get into the doorway, where you are going to see just explosions of all colors as a group of rat folk bombard your party with a dizzying array of alchemical bombs. One of them in the back here seems to just be cowering in a corner and is not fighting anymore and is just terrified of the murder clown that has come for her.
So combat rolls through the door to land in full view of everybody. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen again. Is everybody okay?
Yes, remarkably fine today.
I'm on fire.
Nobody's dead.
Nobody's dead yet. No.
Let's keep it
Ara
that
is
way.
very on fire, but everyone else looks okay.
I imagine him just going.
I
like,
assume that's just his own fire. That
More on fire than normal.
So you get up through the door. You do have 1 action left as you come to the doorway.
Hey, sir, we're beating a rat's unconscious. Do you want to join?
Yes, this sounds
Right.
good.
There's free. Just take your pick.
I'm gonna move just up in here to be in the group.
All right. Selwyn.
Oh, also, don't kill him. We're trying that whole thing, and I'll run past. Now, you said something about paying things back. Well, here's interest. And with very fast speed for a gnome, and very angrily, I will miss the first shot. But it was
Too much
only a
anger.
distraction. It was merely a distraction for the punch to the neck. Or like the roundhouse kick to the neck.
I guess they are also small.
Or 28 on their 24 rather. On their,
24 absolutely hit their flat-footed.
and I give him a good kick in the neck.
And does that, oh, that's about your sneak attack dice now. Hitting for 13.
Yes.
As you rush around and kick Lish forward here. Just kind of chittering in the corner. And I just scooted up, curled up almost into a ball. Very wide-eyed. The other 2 rats are kind of a mottled tan and dark brown. This rat is almost fully white. Their little beady eyes look out as Zerg runs into the room. Oh, there's the giant green man that's come for us. The giant green man and clowns come to kill us. And just seems to be overwhelmed. Selwyn.
Yep.
You are still boiling, and you're
Yep.
going to lose another 7 health acid damage, which does not end quite yet.
Nope.
But Aura,
My anger will carry me through.
as you're clearly dissolving here, right behind Lish as Aura is starting, Lish turns around as you run and kick her. How much skin do you have? How are you still possibly alive?
You'd be surprised.
Aura.
I am going to take a step back and throw a seed pod at the one I can see back there in the corner.
All right.
That's the plan, anyways. Never works.
I'm 17.
Whip a little seed pod out and it cracks across the wall next to her. And she
And I'm gonna
flinches like an actual rat. She just like bolts a couple feet around the wall, skittering. Back kind of arched, like pressed up against the wall, and all fours looking at you. Eyes
then-
almost
Bullied her
bulging
rat.
out of her head at this point.
I'm gonna try again because I wanna use this button I just discovered.
The second attack one. Oh yeah, I should use that too. Huh.
Oh, yeah, right.
20
They
to
added
hit?
iterative attacks. They added iterative
Yeah.
attacks to the character sheets now, so you can press attack
Yeah.
2 and it'll automatically modify it for you.
With a
Oh,
20.
really?
Yep. And 20, that seed pod is gonna connect, and she skitters back again.
For a whole whopping 2 damage.
2 damage. Ow! All right, Barkbeard, you have a 10-foot penalty to your speed.
Ah, well, that's okay because I am actually quite fast.
And then my
So you said that this rat down here in this little alcove was wrestling around in bottles. Is there like a shelf over there of bottles?
No,
or
he's
is
got
that
him
just
strung.
Him
It was
digging
the
in
one
a
that was
bag?
standing up against the back wall. He's got like bandoliers and belts all over him, covered in various flasks and bottles.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
persistent damage.
Oh, you take 2 more damage too. Yeah, good call.
Okay, so then I am going to. Hey, sir, you are quite a hooligan. That's right. And I will move forward up this direction towards this guy, who I'm not a fan of at this moment. And I will smack him. Not very well. I actually smack him horribly.
Leshy's
I just
dodging.
smack the ground next to him, and I'm like, that was a warning strike. This is the second warning strike. and, and then I will take my shield out of my head and raise it.
Out of your head?
I assume it doesn't hit
Yes.
the flanking.
It does not know.
Oh, okay.
Arvis. 17's not super far off.
Yeah,
It
no,
doesn't
it's not great either, is it?
As Ara kind of like stumbles back into us doing whatever he's done, I'm just gonna like grab him and pull him close to me, just shake him ahead. You're always getting into trouble, and I'm just start battle medicine him.
His arms flailing on fire. Make me a reflex save.
Oh
Arvis.
no! 17.
With a 17, you're gonna take 2 points of fire damage as well as you quickly try to treat the burning shrubbery.
Doesn't burn any more than usual.
It burns more uncontrollably than usual. I think give me your battle medicine check.
Okay. 24.
24 will succeed. 2d8 plus 10.
And
You don't think
16.
he's no less on fire, but he has 16 points more health to burn
Right.
through.
That's right.
2 actions left.
I would move over here slightly behind my bigger 6-foot friend and put my shield up.
Alrighty. Lish here is gonna stagger a little bit, kind of scooting back against the wall. And
Wait,
as
that's cheating.
Barkbeard comes in and slaps down twice, she scoots back up into a corner, putting her hands kind of not so much up as out in front of her, almost like a Wild West ready to draw above her bottles. Like, all right. You're plants and clouds. You're clearly not gangsters. Why are you here? And doesn't come out attacking immediately. The other rat's gonna step around the corner and see the group of you just kind of ganged around her. And as he's rustling through his bottles, he kind of stops for a moment, seeing how close they are. Get back off a Lish, you louts! And reaches down and pulls off a small little hand crossbow, takes a bolt off of his belt, racks it, and shoots it at Barkbeard. And this comes in for only a 14.
That critically fails. I catch the thing and I just put it behind my ear.
And it's a tiny little hand crossbow bolt, maybe like
I
4 or 5
catch
inches
the
long.
tiny little twig and start picking my teeth.
All right.
Wait,
Zarg.
sir, call up. Oh, you'll hear me scream. Or everyone hold on, I guess.
So I'll go ahead and put these two. This little icon. These two are no longer fighting you. Zarg.
He's still waking
Sorry,
up.
everything is still waking up, including computer.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go. We'll come back to you, or are you good?
No, I'm good. Yeah,
Okay.
it's good. It's just something's fucking frozen. Zerg doesn't know what's going on. He's just showed up and there's bombs flying, so he's gonna run right here, punch him in the head.
That's
First dude I saw looked vaguely threatening. He's copping a punch to the head.
And he's shooting a little hand crossbow at Barkbeard back here.
Hang on, my sheet is all opened. All the little things are open. Bang. That's the one we want. 27.
27 hits him.
Second attack. Oh, someone's missed with my rolls. Thank you.
I think I was Oh.
1d4 plus 4b plus 1d4.
Yes, that sounds right.
Sweet.
Yeah, but
Bang!
yeah.
6 to the face.
And it's
All
not
right.
doing it. Damn it.
What's not doing it?
Well, it should be another D4.
Oh, it's still not rolling a second D4. Roll another
Yeah.
D4. We'll figure out that macro someday.
Oh, I'm crying.
7 bludgeoning damage.
All right, and now
Powerful.
on the sheet there, they have added a number 2 button. You can click number 2, and it'll automatically subtract a 5 for you. Look at that, so nice.
18. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, follow-up punch is gonna miss though.
It is
Dang.
19, but it still misses, I believe.
So
Because you need to add in the agile part on the sheet. I'll do that in just a moment.
oh, so
And
misses.
I'll-
All right, so
Yeah. I'll hold up. All right. Let's all talk. We are the Circus of Wayward Wonders, and if you will excuse me a minute, and I'll stop removing my clothes. Like,
please, I'm dissolving. Give me a moment.
yeah. So no more fighting. All right, we'll all lay down our arms and bombs, and I'll do this like while I'm scrubbing myself. Let's just all calm down.
All right, so you flat
I'm
check.
very good.
By the power of stripping naked, you are no longer dissolving by this incredibly potent acid they've splashed all over you.
And I will
do you-
take back all my clothes.
You have an action left. You want to start redressing, I guess.
Yep, I'll use my action to take back all my clothes.
And in the corner here, this first rat comes scampering around right past Zerg and literally runs up into Lish's square, pushing around kind of in front of her, in between her and Selwyn, and just stops, kind of perched, sort of bouncing a bit. It looks directly at you. You are clowns. You're with your circus folk.
Yes. Do you guys want a job?
And Lish says, Sniggles, no. And Sniggles, yes. Ara.
I'm gonna chase after the rat. Get right about here. And remember to stop, drop, and roll. So I just tumble forward through the wall, through the hole, to try to get the fire off, because now it's starting to burn a little bit.
Alright, give me the flat check. Hey, stop, drop, and roll successful. So you run in and just tumble across the ground and put the
And I
fire
stand
out.
back up, my arms above my head, do a little bow.
Barkbeard. You are no longer slow.
I'm
That did
going-
only last one turn.
Oh, perfect. I'm going to step up next to Selwyn and here, let me help you with that. These clasps are very finicky, and I'm going to start trying to help Selwyn dress, and I'm going to.
Don't touch me, tree!
Where is this? The front or the back?
No.
no. If you put your
Don't stay-
elbow like
no,
that,
stay
it's gonna
away.
make me very hard. Yeah, no, it's gonna.
What?
Right. Nothing.
Don't
nothing,
touch me,
dude.
stay away, you creep!
Arvis.
And so that's what I'm gonna do.
Arvis.
Oh shit! All right, I'm gonna follow that. All right, so we'll run up behind Zerg and Aura, who I'm appreciating his tumble as I come into the room.
Right, get your tree under control.
And then I will use my second action to move up next to the tree and just sort of observe as he helps Selwyn get dressed
He's not helping.
with my shield kind of up at the same time, just sort of like watching, like confused.
Don't watch, avert thine eyes.
So, Lish here, kind of stuck behind Sniggles, like physically crawls up, like kind of trying to bat Sniggles back behind her, and put herself in the front. Like, no, we don't know you. We don't know who you are. We don't know where you've come from. This is I don't know what this is. I don't trust it. But we can't fight you, clearly. And, in the back, this last rat scampering down from Zerg. Oh, sure as hell gonna try! And pulls out another bomb and throws it at Zerg. We don't know what they're here for! Don't just let them take you! Get off of them! And Zerg, you are going to have a flask flying towards you for a 25.
25? Oh, good, the drink! I'll go to grab it. It hits me.
Oh no!
Thanks for the drink!
And as you grab it, it explodes in a blast of fire across you. And
No, not the spicy drink.
you're gonna take 10 fire damage. Aura's gonna take 2 fire damage, and as it erupts across you, you're gonna catch fire and burst into flames. And then he's gonna just kind of look at you. What? Just kind of freeze up first last action. Zerg.
Oh, you missed! I like a spicy drink, but this is, you spilled it everywhere. Can I have another?
On fire.
Fireball around his face, hand out.
Hold on a second, we've got a little problem here. I'm gonna step forward and take a fiery swing to the face with the 23.
That hits him.
7 plus 2 damage.
9 points of damage. Maybe you have 1 action left.
Where is my drink? I asked for a drink, you not give me one. What is sort of service you're running here? Well, taking his other swing.
And then so with a natural
critical.
one, a fucking wild swing just goes over him as he dies.
I'm not really looking. I'm just looking for the other drink.
And he just calls out, "What the hell is going on?" So
I'll look at him. Just a moment, and I'll walk over here. Can you do me a fucking favor and read the room? I'm submitted.
you can see around this corner. To be fair, a half-naked gnome comes around the corner.
Wait, 29.
That's a critical success. He immediately slinks down real fucking small.
I'll put on my clothes, reeling from the sexual harassment I had to endure.
And Sniggles here is gonna clamber, almost pushing Lish back, and then clamber over into the front. No. I want to hear.
Alright.
Ara.
Aura's gonna attempt to read the room and cast Tanglefoot on the one that's by Zerg.
Stop that.
Stop that. Roll an 18 to hit him.
He is gonna dodge an 18.
Yeah.
Just barely at Frightened 2. Just barely gonna dodge an 18.
Is it 21 normally?
Please just calm down.
You got 1 action left.
I just yell at him to calm down, so one said to read the room.
Barkbeard.
Well, I guess I could go run over here and at 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Ha! Perfect. I'll go over here. Please reconsider, I say. and I will smack him upside the head.
Stop.
25
25 is definitely gonna connect.
for 11, and then a 23
Also definitely hits.
for 10. And then I will put.
Well, as you kind of hit him with these two slaps, he's kind of reeling. Okay, all right, fine, stop. And drops his crossbow and goes, puts his little hands up and tries to protect himself.
I just imagine Barkbeard like grabbing the head of this rat, like.
Yes, that's much more the attitude we were looking for.
So,
And that's what I'll do. And I'll do anything else.
With that, as it comes back around to him here, he's going to stop and reach down and pat a bit and pull out a not a vial, but like kind of a leather water skin, and just flip the cork off and just squeeze it and sprays her up and down with it. But what comes out of it certainly is not water. It's almost kind of a frothy sort of spray that hoses out as he squeezes it with pretty surprising force, covering Zerg head to toe in a bubbling white foam that quenches the fire burning across him.
Quench my thirst while you're at it.
It does not. It's incredibly bitter and foul tasting if any of it gets in your mouth. But as they stop, and this last rat kind of surrenders here. What? Who are you? I don't understand.
We're circus folk. Do you guys want jobs?
No. Why would we want circus?
Why
We were
not?
perfectly fine here until you showed up.
But why are you here?
Why do you attack people that just knock on your door, although we did not knock? But the thought was there. I did have the thought.
To be fair, I only opened the door and asked a question.
This is true.
And the other one, Lish, speaks up first. Well, we didn't know what to expect. I figured that you were either the wolf beast from the cave, or you were the various
Oh.
gangsters come back to reclaim your things.
Right, great news. Wolf Beast dead. So, thumbs up on that one.
And
What kind of things do you have here? Are they interesting things?
they'll kind of look at each other, and Sniggles pushes up and kind of scampers back into the main chamber with speed to where some of their little experiments and projects with all chemical stuff's laid out on the floor. He goes, oh yeah, look at this. These things gotta put together. And the other rat, not Lish, goes, Sniggles, no! And Sniggles, yes!
Sweet.
Put some things together. And then pulls up a bottle, a pretty big bottle, and searches around. Stick. Give a stick.
Break off the
I have
stick and
many
hand it
sticks,
to him.
actually. Hey, Ara,
I'll take-
I have a bigger stick.
I'll take the stick from.
no.
She'll take the stick from Ara and just drizzle some of this liquid up and down the length of it, and reach down and grab another bottle, mix something into something else, almost knocking over a few various alembics and tinctures, and then dips the tip of it in this new thing she's mixed up. And the other two rats at this point are just watching, defeated, as Sniggles excitedly mixes all this stuff together to make a wet stick, and then reaches down for a little piece of flint and says, hold stick.
Alright, I'll hold the stick.
And she smacks the flint against the little steel striker, and some sparks come out. And she just does this up towards the top of the sticks a couple of times until the top of the stick catches. First with just a little bit of flame, and she takes the stick back from you and backs up away and holds the stick up as the chemical she made starts to catch and react, putting off some multicolored smoke as a spray of almost scintillating rainbow sparks radiate off it as she kind of twirls it around.
It's awesome. You should join our circus.
And then she takes it and holds it up and kind of swings it a bit, sending out waves of sparks, one color after the next, off in one direction and the other. Pretty neat.
Yeah, it's sick. Yeah, awesome.
It's very fun.
I like
So-
it.
I know you said no to the job offer, but are you sure? That's incredible.
And Lish, just a literal hand to her face. Yes, we're sure. We don't need anything. Sniggles. And Sniggles just kind of looks back and forth and looks at you. To you, and then to Lish, and then to you, and then to Lish.
At least let me look at your wounds. I can do that for you. I'm very medically inclined.
And is there a moment of kind of uncertainty as they all look together? Except Sniggles, of course, the other two. Alright, fine. Sorry about the bombs and all, but given location, kind of assumed no one would come seeking us out without an ill intent.
That's all good. We're not vengeful folk. At least not to you.
But truly,
Why are you here, though?
it's a hideout. Got a scrap of trouble in town with a particularly violent gang. What with us, well, stealing all the things and whatnot.
All right.
What?
So when I like them,
Is a well-known gang in town?
And Lish shakes up. Well, it wasn't terribly well known to us. We just thought we'd found a good lot of supplies, reagents, tools, and chemicals. I mean, we all got some know-how of mixture. Figured we could make some coin that way. Didn't realize who we were stealing from, I guess. Came back, hid out here. Turned out to be even worse. Who would have known we picked the only canyon with a wolf monster living in it?
I wouldn't say the only canyon. There could be other monster wolf canyons out there.
And Sniggles' eyes just kind of go wide. Are there more wolf monsters?
Not here.
Not
but
at the circus.
in fact, this is now a non-wolf canyon.
Delwyn.
What?
Wolves
And,
are not so bad.
I didn't say
Lish-
wolf bad, but just a wolf monster, which is clearly the Bargust.
Lish
That
gives a pretty visible sigh of relief, and the other rat looks, well, suppose that means we can leave safely then. How?
It does, but I have a proposition, and I know you've said no twice, but I mean, we have supplies.
And I'll say no a third time.
Come on,
Okay.
supplies.
We
Fame.
also have no wolf
Food.
monsters.
No wolf monsters. Protection from gangs.
it's a lot of fun.
No. No and no. It's ridiculous.
What if
Look,
What if I say, come on?
how if I make you a different deal? This, well, largely isn't ours anyway, and we've been working on some things. You tell no one you found us here, and you can take what you want from this. We can't come with you. Lish and I were both made, and the last thing we need is any kind of public appearance. That gang finds us, we're as good as dead. And Sniggles puts his finger. I wasn't there though. I can come. Can I do the circus? And that rat comes out. No, Sniggles.
No, we found a perfect compromise. We get to take your thing, Sniggles come with us, and everybody's happy.
What if we make gang promise to never hurt you?
And Lish, they both just kind of laugh. And Lish, we stole from them. There's nothing that's gonna make up that except, well, an example being made of us. They can't lose face that way. They can't forgive us.
We could always beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, we're kind of good at that.
Admittedly,
Here's
you
good
are
option.
surprisingly good at that. But no, we're gonna pass. The three of us need to get out of Escadar, as a matter of fact. If the wolf beasts are
Sure.
gone, and we can leave this canyon safely. Yeah, we won't be here by nightfall. And Sniggles puts his finger. I will. I'll be here by nightfall. I want to do circus things. I want to go with the circus. And let's just no. Snig. You know what?
Please, can they come? It'd be fun.
Fine. Do your decisions, your funeral, but then she just kind of motions to Sniggles, and Sniggles just shakes her head and just like, Sniggles, come here. No, you're gonna say I can't go to the circus. I've already said you can't go to the circus from over here. Why would that matter from And she just walks over to Sniggles in the middle of the chamber by all the gear. Her sparkler having largely burnt out at this point. And puts a hand on Sniggles' shoulder. And just kind of puts her head down and puts her forehead to Sniggles' forehead. The other Rash is kind of watching. And turns to Selwyn. And kind of leads down. Look. Sniggles ain't the brightest.
I think he's just misunderstood. Or is it she?
She.
Oh,
But-
sorry.
Look. I don't think she quite understands what she's getting into here. We're
I don't think it.
littermates, the three of us. We got nothing but ourselves.
Well, she's gonna have a new family here at the Circus of Wayward Wonders.
We have that in common as well. We only have
Yeah.
each other.
What are we gonna have?
The option of coming with us, we would keep you safe.
I just don't think this is a good idea, is all.
Well, you could be arrested, but you don't have to do any public appearances. Could work behind the scenes.
Why don't you want to roll me a diplomacy? You can
Yes,
feel free here.
I would very much like to. By the gods, please help me.
It doesn't have to be you, because I mean you're all
I was
kind
gonna
of.
say, can we try to assist?
Yeah, I was gonna say
but
you're all.
Hmm,
I don't honestly know if anybody has a higher diplomacy than Selwyn, honestly.
I doubt it.
No.
So, but with a 22,
Sure.
Rat's eyes kind of shift back and forth, and he grinds his teeth together a bit as he's kind of considering. If somebody wants to assist, you definitely can.
I want to attempt to assist. I'm not the best at diplomacy, but
I'll leave this one for the party. Do I hear a point?
I have
An
no
eight-
opinion on that. I am.
An 8 ain't great, but
yeah,
an
I'm
8
no good at assisting.
Yeah, 11's gonna fail to assist, but won't critically fail, so you're okay.
I can also try and assist.
Get the 10
Yeah,
critically
two.
fails on anything.
Oh, well, no, I also
Yeah,
don't
16
very
also
assist
does
very
not
much.
fail, or does not succeed.
I will hear a point.
believe Selwyn.
I believe. Well, I got it up by
What did
2.
go up?
Yeah.
Went up
It
to
was like one of
24.
us assisted.
That's
but
worth
you
it.
did it by yourself.
You got an assist.
It was worth. Good job, me.
It stops. And he looks over towards Lish and Sniggles. And just kind of stand their foreheads together. Look, you seem like fine folk, and having us along isn't going to do you no favors.
It's fine. No, trust me, you won't be the most bothersome here. We've dealt with gangs before. It's no biggie. In fact, we're dealing with one right now. Obviously, won't involve you. And it's what's your relation with cats? Hate those? Was that racist?
He just kind of looks, side eyes you, and turns back to Lish. Why not, eh? And Lish just looks back and are you serious, Callum? What are we gonna do in a circus? I mean,
We have many things to do.
Yeah, I mean, given your talent,
living
you're
in a cave,
pirates,
I'm
and
sure.
it's, help the rust about, get things ready. Obviously, you don't have to perform.
I could always use assistance to help me tend to my wolves. This is always a thing.
And all three of them just kind of look at you, and their eyes just pop out of their head a little bit, and sort of lean a little ways back from you.
Oh,
You also don't have to assist with wolves. Also, they're not murderer wolves. They're very sweet.
They're very
So-
sweet girls.
Sniggles pulls away from Lish and comes over to Selwyn. So can I come to the circus? Can I do it?
Of course. And your family is more than welcome.
You could always try it out for a couple days, and if you didn't like it, you could always just come back here and live in your hole in the side of the wall.
That's true. You have the option of leaving. We're circus
always-
folk. We're not going to bind you in contracts.
I've always wanted to join the menagerie. It looks fun.
We'll discuss that.
Our
later.
circus is better than the menagerie, as we do not beat people. We do not beat our own people.
Yes.
Callum kind of laughs. I do suppose we deserved it.
Well,
And-
to our credit, we stopped as soon as you guys stopped.
And so Snuggles here, as your attention literally is turned a tiny bit away from her to Callum, literally scoots herself over so she's in your line of sight in between you and Callum. Hey, so where are we going? When do we get to do stuff? Can I do tricks?
Yes.
Am I
soon?
getting it to be on the stage?
Of course.
Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yes.
For Snuggles art.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's
Look.
the best.
Look at her.
That is pretty fantastic.
At this majestic creature that we have right here. Snuggles has prepared her entire life for this moment. And she is more than happy to join the Circus of Wayward Wonders as a 5th level performer.
Whoa.
I have only known Sniggles for 45 minutes, but if anything were to happen to her, I'd kill every one of them myself.
Boy, that could have went completely differently, and he would have been showing us this could have been in your party, guys. But you wanted to murder everybody.
But with a little bit of convincing, the other two, they don't want to perform. Callum and Lish are less on the side of actually, being show fronters. But Sniggles is more than excited about the prospect of getting to actually go out into the 3 rings and put together a performance for the Circus of Wayward Wonders. So, as you have talked them down and as they start to kind of gather their things here out of this cave, they go through what they've managed to steal/produce in their time over in this keep to see if any of it would be of useful to you. Anything would be of value to you. They offer the ability to, they can mix together some decent healing potions, honestly, though they've never done anything that they weren't putting together to use, really. So they can't make ones that will last. They can't make you healing potions you can take with you. But they can make brief infusions. So if you stop back by your circus grounds, Callum and Lish can mix you lesser healing potions to just take right then and there. They can basically treat you with potions instead of actual magic or medicine checks. In addition, they've got some alchemical formulae if any of you were ever interested in trying to learn some work yourself, as well as a greater leaper's elixir that they've managed to finally perfect the creation of. And if you were to consume this little elixir here, you can high jump or long jump as a single action for 1 minute, and the distance you can high jump is equal to the distance you could long jump. Which means you can jump straight up as high as you can roll an athletics check for 1 minute after consuming this.
Nice.
Doing.
It's something that Sniggles had put together that she was interested in using, similar to how she had put together a lot of her various little concoctions and fireworks for her own entertainment, and she gladly hands it over to you, as well as an expanded alchemist's kit. And an expanded alchemist tools, rather, I believe is like alchemist tools, but it just gives you a +1 item bonus to do. Oh, it's an alchemist lab. That's what it is. Yeah, it gives you a +1 item bonus to creating any kind of alchemical items, or to trying to identify them, which they are also more than happy to help do with potions and stuff back at your camp. They are going to need some help carrying it, though, as none of them are very physically strong, and all of their tools together that encompass an expanded alchemist's kit is a lot of glassware and a lot of various units and pieces that they can't transport easily themselves. They've
Oh, sorry,
added to this
dash a moment.
piecemeal while they've been here.
I also was. Is there anything else in this cave? Have you thoroughly searched it? Is there no? We were given a map, or we found a map. Is there no like little nooks or crannies hiding things?
It doesn't go back very far. This hole was worn away back behind it, and that's why we stayed here. We have the key, but we also have this little hidey hole. It only goes about as far back as you saw.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, you want to know something
Don't
neat?
mind. Yes.
And Sniggles pads around on the ground and picks up the piece of twine that she had before. Okay, so see this twine? Imagine if this twine was so long that you could wrap it around the entire world, right?
Right.
End to end. And then
Right.
And then imagine that I took this 3 foot length of twine right here, and I added it to the twine that was going around the world. How high do you think I could lift the twine up on some little supports around the entire length of the world, just adding 3 feet?
Huh?
Well, I think I've heard this one before. It sounds vaguely
Where
familiar.
the
I
hell
can't...
have you heard it? You've lived in the forest.
Well, people often talk as they walk through the forest.
Who
It's
talks
almost half a
about
foot.
that?
You could get it almost half
Many
a foot off the
people
ground, the entire way around the whole world, just by adding 3 feet. And Callum, Sniggles, nobody cares.
I think that's pretty sick, dude. That's really cool.
It's because you're just comparing two circumferences, so the radius of the world doesn't actually matter. If I wrap this around my fist, and she wraps it up around her hand like you saw when you were coming in the door in the first place, so it was snug, and I had that same 3 feet, it'd be the same, almost half a foot. You could pull it out around my whole hand. The radius factors out completely.
Yes, that sounds incredibly familiar. It feels like I've heard this quite a
Someone-
lot outside of this game. Yes,
Someone, she's really smart.
She does seem to be rather intelligent.
Liz,
compared to-
please don't encourage her. She will not stop, ever.
I believe it. Still, though, it's pretty cool.
So, as the group of you, finding much less death and horrors in this keep at the head of the canyon than you may have expected, head back up to the circus grounds with some new friends. And, as an added bonus, this swampy canyon now seemingly clear and free from dangers. Let's take our midstream break here real quick and give you all and Sniggles a little bit of time to get set and prepared here. The last thing we expected to find at the back end of the canyon. Circus performers.
I
Well,
always
Sniggles.
expect to find circus performance.
We'll be right back, everybody. Give us a couple of minutes. Don't go far. We return. We still have an actual show we have to put on. And then, well, I think there's at least several other reasons that we've come to Escadar in the first place. Well, the canyon's clear, certainly. There's still a lot to be done. BRB. Back. Look who managed for possibly the first time to remember to unmute his party when he came back from break. It's me. I'm like 1 for, what is this, session 18? 1 for 18 now. I think I'm 2 for 18. I'm pretty sure I remembered to unmute you guys after the break. At least one other episode than this one.
You did, yeah. Episode 2.
I'm sure it's happened at least one other time. So 2 for 18, hitting a solid 1 out of 9. That's more than 10%. Those are the
2 for
kind of
19, actually. Last session was 18.
Was it?
Yep.
Hey, you sure?
100%.
I am positively wrong by the 18 video files I have for
That
the
would seem
recordings
odd.
of this show so far.
You have 18 recordings. So today would be number...
I'm not smart. It's the 19th episode, which means this was also wrong last week because this said 17 last week. So the session number's just been wrong on the stream for at least 2 consecutive sessions.
Oh, jeez.
Possibly more than that. Also, I didn't start recording until just now. So I guess I'm going off of the downloaded VOD. It doesn't really fucking work in my video editor either. Don't worry. I've done at least one thing right today, which was unmute the party when we came back from break.
What, you woke up without being dead? Like, that doesn't count.
Barely.
So, as the group of you make your way back out of the canyon, heading back to the circus grounds with your new team of rat bros in tow, that was honestly a fairly short journey. It's still pretty early in the morning at this point. Noon certainly won't even have come yet. Still be a couple of hours off. But as you come back to your wagons and your roustabouts clearing the area and some of your performers around practicing, Sniggles' eyes are going to damn near pop out of her head with excitement as she looks around at even just the, very mundane backstage things that are going on right now. As she looks I mean this almost literally, it looks like her head is near exploding as her eyes flip almost entirely out of her head and back in, boggling madly as she looks back and forth. And with a big sigh, Lish turns to the group. Are you sure you can handle her?
Probably.
We have quite a rambunctious group, I would say. She'll fit right in.
Yeah, I think if they can handle the dwarven throwers, they can handle her.
Speaking of, beware of the dwarven throwers.
The hell
They're
is a
quite the
dwarven
pranksters.
thrower?
It's a dwarf.
Oh, they're dwarves who throw. Dwarves. They're dwarves who throw dwarves.
The dwarves, some might call them.
Sniggles turns back to the group of you. Oh, they have dwarves. This is the best circus ever.
Quite.
Wait.
I mean, there's 2 talking plants in the circus, too.
Wait, where?
Well, I've only heard about them.
Oh, okay.
So, as you come back in here, the professor, saying the group of you approaching, turns and comes to greet you. Oh, this is a strange departure from your usual operations. It's been less than an hour, and none of you appear to be in mortal peril. What happened?
We picked up some new performers.
These are
New performers and some helpful hands.
and at the front of Kalim kind of nods a bit. I'm just looking in front of him. Hi. I'm Clem. This is Lish and Sniggles. I met these folk back at our hideout, and I guess we're coming along to help.
Just keep in mind that they might be on the run, and if anybody comes looking for them, tell them they're not here.
Do we not have enough enemies in Escadar as it is?
What's
Well,
one more?
What's a couple more at this point?
That's fair enough, I suppose. Honestly, can't really argue that. It seems like we're up against the whole damn city as it is. All right.
As long as they give us their money, we'll be off. We'll be on our way.
And he looks across their various bandoliers, the bunch of selections missing from their assorted belts and straps. Oh, you're potion makers then? What is it you do? And
They throw bombs, and very efficiently. And I'll show him some of my really burnt skin.
Unless puts a hand up. Oh, what? Well, that's gonna be all Sniggles then. We're not really performers ourselves. And all right, which one of you is Sniggles then? And they Lish and Callum both point to the white one, and Sniggles kind of just stands there.
Hey, show him what it did with the lights.
She's a bit shy. She may need a little bit of time to get used to the sights around the place.
There's a lot to take in.
It is a bit overwhelming.
I must say, if you're struggling with stage fright, here, here, the center ring is quite a step up from that. I'm the professor. Selwyn and I largely take care of things here. She runs the shows and the schedules, and I organize the day-to-day. And puts a hand out towards Sniggles, and Sniggles still just giant boggled eyes just staring. Right. Well,
Come on, Sniggles. Come on, show what you did before, like with the stick.
I mean, really, Sniggles fits right into this group, I would say.
I checked her for a pulse.
If anything, her pulse would be racing. It's a surprise the blood isn't shooting out of her eyeballs. But the professor, well, I suppose we haven't even so much as scheduled our opening night in Escadar quite yet, so she has time, and, well, I can't say it wouldn't be well in Thunder's spirit to put untested blood on the stage in our first opener with everything at the line. And it would certainly be the best way I could imagine for honoring old Bartleby. Or
Bartholomew?
Barnabas? Bartholomew, that was it. Oh, I barely knew the kid.
That's
Anyway, whoever it was. Look, I don't mean to sound callous here, but I've... with how long I spent in the menagerie, I grew accustomed to not getting too close to people, as... Well, he wouldn't even be among the first dozen I've seen taken away, though he is certainly the first so brutally and clearly. I'm sorry that probably comes across as a fair bit disrespectful, but anyway.
Well, if you can't be disrespectful in a circus, then I mean, where can you be?
Well, welcome to the show then, Sniggles. I imagine we can, Selwyn, we can take on getting an act figured out for you. And we should certainly talk, perhaps, about scheduling a show sometime before too long. We'll want some fair days to advertise, probably around a week, which means we'll need to get prepared and get started here within the next few days. How are things going in, well, whatever in the Nine Hells is happening back beyond the trees?
Right,
where you find murder and wolves and an attacking swamp and now circus rats.
Yeah, we're done. We finished.
Oh.
It certainly seems to be cleared out.
Well, that was dramatically more effort than I would have expected. That's good news, nonetheless. Well, we should have the lot cleared and be ready to start setting up the tents as early as tomorrow. When do you want to start advertising, Sullivan?
Tomorrow. We'll do the show 8 days from now.
That's a fair enough idea. I'll head into town, maybe get some flyers made, and we'll hit the ground running on this tomorrow morning. Anyway, I'm going to get back to readying things as we will. This new tent is quite the project to erect. I'm not even sure we have enough hands between all of our help to reach around this canvas, but we'll do our best. And with a nod to the rats, with Kalim just kind of nodding back. Sniggle still completely motionless, and Lish not really acknowledging too much. He turns back to whatever he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Lish, I told you. Are you sure you want us sticking around?
Yes, absolutely. This isn't the worst case of stage fright I've seen. In fact, Bartholomew, who is now, well, unfortunately very dead, had such a case on his first night. And it turned out splendidly.
Yeah. A completely fucking motionless eyes popped out of her head. Sniggle slowly turns down towards Lish. I have a question. If you two aren't performing and you're just here to help, does that mean that you're ratstabouts?
I like her.
She'll
Lish literally
fit
just
right
walks
in.
away from the group. Lish just walks out towards the edge of the camp. So, what do we do?
So the way we do this is you go out on stage, which is inside the circus tent. You'll perform, show off what you think is cool or what you think is incredible, and like that wand that you're showing as fireworks. And you'll get thunderous applause, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. This
People
sounds
will love you.
it sounds a lot like the menagerie. I've stuck into the menagerie at least 83 times.
Right.
So-
Yes. But there won't be the abuse behind the scenes.
Well, I just stuck into the tent during the big shows. I just like to watch. There's plenty of space under the bleachers, and most of the other rats there are just regular rats. But where's your tent? We don't have a tent. There's a lot of wagons.
Well, we have a tent right there. It just hasn't been pulled up yet.
So when do we do the circus?
In 8 days.
Seems to be intense calculation going on behind Sniggle's eyes as she thinks.
And not to worry, I feel like stage fright is something you will overcome.
Yeah, well, best of luck with that one then. Yeah, well, I guess what do we do? Where are we headed? I don't need a...
Well, first of all, we got to find you some accommodations, and from there, we want to figure out what you would like to do.
Well, truth be told, I'm still not fully sold on being here. But
You have alchemical expertise, right?
expertise enough,
Well, in that case, you could be the circus apothecaries.
People get
Alright.
hurt a lot.
Sniggles gets hurt a lot. Surprised she still even has any fur.
I get hurt a lot. Zerg gets hurt a lot too.
I get hurt moderately.
I fixed most people.
She sometimes gets really hurt.
I suppose we can do our best with that. Putting together healing's easy. And putting together things that explode's easy. It's stuff in the middle ends up being somewhat hard.
Hmm.
Well, I guess we'll just... I don't know.
I will talk to the professor, and he'll help you figure things out. He understands the inner workings of this even better than I do.
The old man that just came and spoke with us.
Right, yes, him.
All right, fair. Well, I'll go find where Lish wandered off to and see if we can make ourselves useful.
Thank you. I hope you'll like it here.
Aye. Me too. And Sniggles, 8 days that's a long time.
Right?
Incredibly.
Gives you lots of time to practice your performance.
We should have him meet all the other performers.
Yes.
Well, I don't. Do I need to practice? I just light sticks on fire.
Well,
Well, you would like to add some flair to it, add some panache, something for the dramatic, thing something up.
Panache. Panache. I can be a pirate. Pirates have panache. You have a pirate hat?
No, I do not believe I have a pirate head.
Do you have a cannon?
We could make a pirate. We do have a cannon around here somewhere, I
Do we
think.
have a cannon?
I don't think we have
I
a
think
cannon.
somewhere.
I don't
Do we
think we
not?
have a cannon.
Where do we have cannon?
Ah, maybe we don't. I thought we might have, but I guess that will affect my act also. So I guess I will. We could practice together.
I think
I
Zerg
could give you
has
pointers.
a cannonball.
No, I don't think he has a cannonball, but look at those guns, and I'll point to his arms.
Zerg paying attention elsewhere. Here's Zerg and guns. And, yes.
See right there, like that.
It's like a reflexive response at this point. So, with that, the task of getting the rat folk and Sniggles settled in here and ready to set up is, well, probably at least the better part of a day's work for someone getting them involved. And as you eventually convince Sniggles to work through some of what his act and his show actually could be and what he knows how to do, it's kind of an impressive array of things. It all does largely boil down to the stick that Sniggles had showed you originally, but given more time to repair and put things together, she's always been really fond of taking the concept of simple things like alchemical fire and frost vials and stuff, and instead of having the reagent explode in a singular moment, like a thrown bomb, adventurer's weapon, having the reagents be seeded, diluted through something else so that it fizzles out slowly, sending out arrays of these sparks and whatnot. Which you realize also allows you the interesting offshoot that it's not always sparks of fire that are coming off of these sticks. She can burn functionally a sparkler that's shooting off freezing cold from the chemicals of a frost vial as easily as she can a flaming one, and in any kind of array of colors. Additionally, she can pretty well tweak how quickly and how violently the reagents are going to burn or combust, allowing her to create anything from a fairly standard sparkler to something that she can use, like the half and half she'd done before, where she dipped the tip in the one to be a bit of a sparkler, and then further down was spraying waves of these sparks, to something she could just leave on the ground, stand away from, that would burn through almost like a modern firework, sending off waves of different phases of light show on its own. With all of her knowledge and the things she has at her disposal, all of her alchemical abilities, it's kind of plants a bunch of ideas, honestly, for potential in everyone, not just as far as her show goes. And each of you now have access to the alchemical trick trait. If you were to put that on your trick as part of any trick check, you could expend an alchemical consumable to gain a +1 on the trick bonus, as well as the prop trick trait, which gives you a bonus if you are performing with the crafting skill. We're all teaching each other here. We learning. Everyone's getting good at stuff. Now, at the moment, your tricks do only have one trait, so it would largely be almost an entire redesign for any of you to try to switch around to take advantage of props or alchemy here. But Sniggles has been working with it long enough that her trick has both traits. So, I don't know if there's somewhere in your circus log or something you want to jot those down, or I believe we can cover all of that later, because I imagine no one's looking for a massive firework-related trick overhaul for this particular show that's coming up. But
You'd be wrong. I've got one. And I'm already in the process of making new tricks, so it's perfect just for the last flourish.
that's fair. You already are halfway through redesigning yours. With the rest of the day largely out in front of you and ready to set a schedule, set a date, and start advertising tomorrow, what do you even want with the rest of your morning? By all accounts, it's been a pretty frickin' resounding success so far. We're finding some new friends and support and, not dying also. And clearing the canyon.
Was there a bonus for using 2 different checks for the circus performance?
Yes, if you, while you are doing your act, if you use a second trick check, you automatically generate excitement equal to a quarter of your trick's level.
Oh, right, that was all of us.
So it's going to be 1 until you're an 8th level trick.
Yes.
But then it'll start scaling.
Yep.
A success or failure.
Mm-hmm.
But that's check. That's checks, not traits. So, at the moment, your tricks
Right.
have 1 trait, 2 checks.
Right, yep.
Going back to the yield and circus mechanics from session 1.
Mm.
But other than a day of practicing, readying, getting the rats settled in, and finishing up with the clearing here, is there anything anybody else wants to do with their Moon Day afternoon?
I would be spending the day trying to finish my trick.
How about you, Arbus? Okay, Ara.
I'm just spending the day continuing on my statue of lizard. I haven't had time to work on that.
Arbus?
I would take a day of relaxation out with the wolves, laying in the field, listening to the wind, just sort of being in the wild by myself with them.
Yes, there just happens to be a very unnoticeable tree in the distance, but it's just relatively new, but it otherwise unnoticeable.
How about you, Zerg?
Zerg's out in a clearing, punching trees as a way of workout, but checking before
awesome.
punching a new tree, just to be sure.
Ah, very kind of you, sir.
Who said that? Which one of you?
Yes.
So, with a great day behind you and a cleared canyon, by the end of the afternoon, as the light is starting to fade, the lot has been cleaned away, rocks busted, overgrowth removed, and laying into not the best manicured, but a serviceable enough field to begin setting up the tent and then cleaning things up a bit more proper to set up for the sideshow and your admissions and everything for your big night. And after an evening of rest, the next morning, some flyers prepared, fresh off the presses. You got to get the word out. You got to get your advertisement ready. And here is the first time this has actually really come around, because this is the first time that you have not been, fighting through a Trog-infested tower or something similarly ridiculous while the circus was being hyped and prepared. This is the first time that, as the leaders of the show, the leaders and the faces of the Circus of Wayward Wonders, the main events, it's going to be up to you to get a new city excited for your show. So you have 7 days. It is currently the 19th of Firust. So your show is going to be on the 26th. Until then, you can spend your time promoting the circus. Any of you can choose to do this, and you can do it in pairs if you want. If you go out to promote the circus, you are going to be doing it with a society check. Now, Escadar has had the Celestial Menagerie for some time, and as any traveling circus knows, nearing yourself to a new population, especially one that has something else they might already be fans of, is a bit more difficult. So it's going to be a fairly difficult check. However, the saying goes that all publicity is good publicity. Anyone who wants to come out and attempt this, you don't need to even be trained in society, and the worst case scenario is you just don't generate any anticipation. You cannot make it worse. You can't go out and, for trying, critically fail and ruin everything forever and reduce all of your hype. The worst you will do is nothing. And again, you can go in pairs. One person can main and the other person can assist. But this downtime activity is 2 full days. And you can perform it repeatedly up until the show happens. But it's 2 full days of advertisement to try and create some anticipation. And it is as much a show unto itself as the actual big top. If you are a charismatic sort of person, you're going to find yourself much more successful leading at these advertisements, generating much more anticipation for the upcoming show. So, Selwyn, I believe for today, you are doing the final day of trying to redesign your trick, right? But the rest of you, what are you doing?
I could go try and be hype man over here. I don't know how good at it I'm gonna be, but I could try.
Does anybody want to go with Barkbeard?
I do.
All right,
Let's
Barkbeard
go
and Arbus are
hyper
going to head out. Nature team. Zerg and Ara, do you want to try as well?
Zerg's gonna stick around and help put up the tent, put up all the heavy work.
Fair enough. How about you, Ara?
Ara's gonna go over and ask someone for some money. Someone,
Good luck.
Yes.
Mom?
I need some coins.
Four.
I'm working on a surprise for Zerg.
How much do you need?
About 6 gold.
Well,
That'll make Zerg really, really
That's the same
happy.
noise my mom makes.
And then I'll go while I'm in town. I'll go advertise the circus.
okay. Sure. Right. Here's 2 extra gold. Buy some alchemist fire for me.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I write that down. Like scratch it into my hand.
2
Alchemist
vials.
fire. 2 vials. 2. Got it. I will not forget this time.
You better not.
Alrighty. So, Selwyn, as you are working to finalize the idea of a new trick here, what are you working on? What's going on over there? How's your schematics looking?
My schematics involve a couple of training dummies that I will do almost a dance around, an acrobatic dance, as I use the mask I have, use the pain I felt from Lizard's loss to project and essentially coerce the entire crowd as I'm doing the dance, culminating in a show of acrobatics, let's say.
Okay. All right, so we're going. We are going a ground up redesign here. This is moving off entirely from the knife juggling that you were doing previously. You really are building up something completely different.
Yes.
Okay. Barkbeard and Arbus, as you head off into the town to begin your promotion, who is taking the lead here? I will say that it would be advantageous to have high charisma and a decent society modifier to lead.
Well, I've got neither of those, but I can roll a society check. Well, I have that.
I have some charisma, but I'm not good with the societies.
I'm all right with society, but I have no charisma, so we have kind of an impasse here.
This is why we are a perfect team. We split.
And together you're a one-hole idiot.
Yes.
Who wants to
So I'll take the lead.
So
For sure.
yes. You spend your first day promoting the circus, and what is your plan here, Barkbeard? What's your strategy? How are you going to advertise the show to the new city of Escadar?
Going to walk through town looking like a tree, and I'm going to hand out flyers to people that are walking by.
It's genius. It's the tried and true, the classic.
Arbus can also hand out flyers, so this is a team effort.
Could hand out flyers as a wolf, I guess. So go for
Go
full
in
nature.
town, hand out flyers, look like fucking weirdos. That's how you advertise a circus right there. It doesn't have to be
Yes.
overly complicated. Keep it simple, stupid. The tried and true method.
I could be sitting in the tree handing flyers. I don't know.
This is true.
All right. So, Aura, as you head into town in the morning to spend your day trying to acquire some goods here, shop around, do you want to? Are you aiming to keep secret what it is you're gathering here?
Oh, I'm looking for a ruby. I've seen a 6 gold piece ruby.
Okay, just a single ruby.
Just a single ruby.
That would certainly be jewelers and numerous stands out throughout the markets of Escadar that are beyond ready to spend as much effort as they possibly can to hawk you their assorted necklaces and gemstones and birdstones and all kinds of stuff. And finding a jeweler is not the difficulty. Finding a decent sale for a decent price is much more the challenge here. Are you trained in society?
I am trained in society.
You want to roll me a society check?
Roll you a society check. I rolled you an 18.
With an 18, you're decent enough at sifting through. You're well able to pass over what are certainly the lowest effort and the lowest quality of the things that are around. And with 6 gold, yeah, you could find yourself a fairly decent. A 6 gold ruby is only going to be so big, but what looks to you like a well-cut, assuming that's what you're after, a well-cut, pure, deep red stone.
Yes.
As well as whatever it was that someone asked you to buy. I forgot already.
2 alchemist fire. Did not forget this time.
Good job. I made no effort to remember that because that was your job. So, now, everything in 2nd edition, especially alchemical things, are graded. So, are you looking for lesser alchemist fires?
Whatever I can get with 2 gold pieces.
2 gold
Someone
pieces
said-
actually is not going to be able to buy you any alchemist fire.
Really?
It's like a gold piece.
You would find that they are perhaps a little bit more expensive than it was believed.
Huh. Well then. I guess I have to tell someone the bad news.
So
Burn the
after
fucking store
shopping
down, take it.
around trying to find something for that, you'd come home empty-handed for Selwyn, unfortunately, but still with a good gemstone for your project. Zerg,
Hey.
as you head out to attempt to begin advertising the circus, what's your approach? How you doing this?
Wait, advertising? I thought I was building shit.
Oh, you were building, right? Never mind. I thought you were promoting. My bad.
Yeah, I was
as you
putting
were
up
to
tents and...
Yeah, the big top here that you have, this new one, is much, much larger than the one that you had before. This enables you to seat a truly staggering amount of people in an improvement that almost certainly would have been completely and utterly useless back in Aberton, as there surely just were not even enough people in the entirety of the town to fill a tent of this size. And setting the thing up is a challenge. This is well over twice as big as the original big top, and what originally looks like setting up and mounting and setting the poles would normally be a day job may take 2 or 3 to actually get everything in order. And as you are the one who would be around here and available, Zerg, you would be the one that the professor would come to early in the morning while Selwyn was busy working and everyone else gone in the town. Oh, Zerg, can I borrow you for a moment? Do you know if Selwyn's around?
Zerg's holding like 30 pieces of lumber, which would be enough to crush a normal person. I'm a little busy. Yes, what you need?
Oh, well, I'd been meaning to ask Selwyn, but perhaps you would know. This first show we have here in Escadar, this may very well be do or die, and may, well, tell how well we're able to stand here, even how well the Circus of Wayward Wonders is able to continue on. These flyers are a good start, actually. I got a decent price on them, but an opportunity occurs to me. We still have some gold left to our coffers. Do you think it would be worth investing in further advertisements? I know it was very much Dusklight's approach. He just seems to be completely oblivious to the fact that you are completely stacked with massive piles of wood right now. Not hurrying at all.
Perhaps because there is competition, we should advertise as much as possible. Any publicity is good publicity.
Selwyn, how much money does the circus still have? Is it $0?
It's absolutely $0.
All right, that's what I thought. Well, if you when next you see Selwyn, ask her how much we'd want to throw forth. I believe we honestly could build up a fairly impressive amount of hype just by really throwing gold pieces at the problem, and it may very well come back to pay for itself by filling more seats. Anyway, that's quite a lot of lumber you're carrying there, Zerg. That's...
Yes, thank you for noticing.
That may be safer done in several trips, but, well, I'll leave you to it then.
Well, we're talking budget. Oil budget needs to go up.
We'll see what we can do. These rat friends of yours have actually requested quite a staggering amount of alchemical components.
What?
Never mind, don't worry. We'll get this figured out. We have a week. And he has papers in his hand, looking back at it, just kind of walks back off.
As the professor walks away, from behind him, he hears a loud clattering of wood and ape yelling.
I have something
great.
for you. Oh, not that one. Where's the
Aw.
there's a... There it is. It's prefaced by the single breaking glass. He doesn't seem to notice. He seems kind of in his own head there. So, with this first day of preparations passed, there is no check or anything to redesign your trick. That is just a thing you can do freely given some investment of downtime.
Right.
As this day wraps up and we move on to our second glorious day of advertisements, Selwyn, what have you created? What is your new, at least, are you changing your trick trait?
Agile and alchemical.
So, you've only got one trait.
Oh, I can only use one.
You can use 2 checks, but 1 trait.
Mm,
So you can be agile or alchemical.
I see.
You will get multiple traits later,
Right.
but that starts giving you like mega stacking bonuses when you get into that.
Right. Well, I'm going to take alchemical because it's going to be cool.
Big brain time.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, let me make sure I didn't just mess this up real quick with the day. 20. Alright, so day 2 of the advertisement and the preparation. As Barkbeard and Arbus head back into town for their second day of kind of canvassing and handing out flyers here. Throughout the day, you're going to, well, hopefully start to see the fruits of your success. And Barkbeard, if it is you who wants to take the lead here, roll me a society check.
Okay.
Can I cast guidance on him for this?
You cannot. It is like a full 2-day activity.
18.
You can assist him, though, Arbus.
Okay, I could do that.
You can do your best.
Oh.
It's all we ask of you.
It's a society to assist.
Yes, society to society. But it's a flat DC 20 always to aid. It doesn't scale, so it makes it kind of easier to aid if you're not super invested.
Mm.
Oh.
The 19.
Good. Yeah, good.
Unlucky gamer.
Yeah.
It's so close and yet so far.
Yeah.
So as you are handing these around, you definitely have some interests. Just because you have a weird tree walking around through town handing out papers. And you've generated a little bit of anticipation with a couple of days, 2 days of work in here. And Aura would have come home the previous evening with his ruby and no alchemist's fires, letting Selwyn know that they are in fact 3 gold pieces for the lesser version of the alchemist's fire. And as a matter of fact, the lesser version of every alchemical bomb is 3 gold pieces. But there are scaling stronger ones for a platinum, depending on what it is you want them for. If it's just for your chick, probably the list.
It's from lesser. I'm just doing it for the show.
Fair enough.
So this day I'll go into town with him and I'll start advertising for the show and pick up 2 alchemist fire as well.
And Ara, you want to help someone out?
I'm gonna go in the opposite direction.
You guys
Cover
want to
more
do
ground.
it individually.
Yep.
Fair enough. And Zerg, another day of setting the tent up, is going to get you, with it largely the skeleton together at least. The posts planted and raised, ready to have the several pieces of the massive pinstriped canvas drawn across them and tacked to the ground tomorrow, so that the actual great silhouette of the big top can form.
Perfect. Dripping in sweat at this point, waiting for everyone to return.
And so, the following day, Selwyn and Aura on your second day of advertising now, throughout this afternoon of working. What is your approach, Selwyn? How are you advertising to Circus Wayward Wonders?
I would be yelling out, shouting down people, basically harking since they're so used to it, really making the performance out of it.
So almost like a sampler, a circus sampler, trying to do your own carnival barker thing out here in the roads. And give me a society check, and we will see how successful you are.
28.
Cool.
28's nearly a critical success, but not quite.
Not
but you
quite.
will certainly generate a pretty decent amount of anticipation. What is your charisma modifier?
It is 4.
You have 18 charisma? Dope. I know, I know you're an intimidate build, but I didn't realize you actually had like the full. I guess, you got the 5th level boost in there. You are going to generate 9 anticipation
Ooh.
for the show, bringing your total up to 10. Adding in the 1 that Barkbeard and Arvis have generated so far.
Nice.
Yeah, we're trying hard out here.
Yeah.
Ara, what's your avenue here?
I'm actually gonna look to see if there's like a rope or something extending between 2 buildings over a road. And if I can find it.
Would be places that like that you could use.
Yep. If I find it, I get on it and I start doing a little bit of my performance on the rope. I'll hawking out and throwing flyers down to anyone who's standing below me.
All right, interesting approach. Throw fire at the general public. I dig it.
Fire flyers.
Oh, I
fires.
think fire. I was like,
That'll
I
get
thought
me
you said
arrested.
fire too.
I had
Fire
fire
up, fire up, fire down.
Flyer up, flyer down.
all right.
At some point, like you're throwing the flyers up and you're shooting fire down.
They accidentally dropping a sandwich in the trash can thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a society check there, Ara.
A 20.
20 will solidly find success. What is your charisma modifier?
4.
All right, Sorcerer. You as well, both you and Selwyn finding great success. Another 9 anticipation for the show, bringing you up with 3 days of work. Escadar is just such a big city, and they don't seem to be like sports team fanboys of the Celestial Menagerie. People seem excited to come and check out a new circus in town. It's just a matter of getting a word to as many people as possible in a city as big as Escadar, as your anticipation now is nearly as high as it was going into your last show in Aberton. Arbus and Barkbeard, are you going to continue advertising?
Technical question. Do I have to build a performance, or can I just have like a basic level performance? Like, since I'm not changing a performance?
What do you mean? Oh, do the downtime thing?
Yeah, do I have to do the
No,
like
it's
investment of
literally
time
just
to
the
build
trick that you're coming with, so you're fine here.
You come in with
I'm
one.
just making sure like it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
come to the day and
Oh
like,
my God, can you
you don't have a
imagine?
performance.
Surprise, bitch!
Yeah.
You don't have a trick. Oh, no.
I just
Every
wanted to
character
make
starts
sure.
with 1 week down.
Stupid noob. Thought you
Idiot.
could come perform in the circus as a new character. So no, don't worry about that.
Okay. Well, Arbus, I feel we were quite successful yesterday. We could always go out again if you'd like, unless you have something better to do.
I am not busy. It's always interesting to see how this all works. To me, it's weird.
Quite.
But you're right. We were very successful. I feel like we really accomplished a lot in here.
It seems to work quite well, just walking around handing out flyers silently.
Right.
It's very good.
Going to suggest I pull a lightning bolt down to get attention or something, but we didn't even need to do that.
Yes, that is true. Okay, well, we should do that again then.
So you head back out and continue. Just kind of throwing some fires, the usual.
I would like walk down people uncomfortably and be like almost like put the into their chest, be like, here you go, this is for you.
Like the guys trying to sell CDs outside a convention.
Yeah.
It's a strategy. It's a strategy. Zarg, today you would be getting the big top of itself, and when the rest of the team returns from their advertisement in Escadar, they would come back to the view of a massive big top. The top of the tent repaired, and most of the sightings starting to come around, just with some massive openings on any cardinal direction where you haven't quite gotten up the entryways and the exit flaps yet. So the corners together, the top together, the bare structures of this freaking gigantic new tent that you, the roustabouts, and Lish and Kalim, the new rats, have been able to put together. Strangely enough, despite their incredibly meager actual physical strength, the 2 Griggs that you've recruited turn out to be absolutely beyond helpful, just with the fact that they can freaking fly and can get little bits of this canvas into position together, seemingly barely able to lift even a corner of this, but they have been irreplaceable so far in the setup process. Now, as we head into another day here, in the morning, before you head out to continue advertising, with 2 days left until the show, the professor finally does manage to catch up to Selwyn. Selwyn, quickly before you head off into town again today, I know you've been very busy, was there anything we wanted to arrange as far as, confections or alcohol or anything for this opening show today, opening night?
Alcohol bad. Confections, maybe?
Well, for my admittedly long experience with circuses, alcohol bad is not entirely untrue, but it does certainly draw in more people, whereas confections just make us more money off the people who are already here. Won't help us draw in more faces, but it'll help us turn more coin. That said, it's the tent this size and the crowd we're hoping to get, it could be quite an investment up front.
Let's do it. Let's put in the confections. I'll skip on a beer this time. I feel like we've had enough trouble as is.
That's fair. All right, well, we're going to need probably, I'm not sure how big of a crowd we'll draw, but to arrange sourcing everything and making sure that we don't run dry, probably about 15 platinum to source all of the food and drinks. Non-alcoholic, of course.
Excuse me, 15 platinum.
No, around, but yeah, well, suppose we could do it cheaper, perhaps. 15 gold should be safe.
You nearly gave me a heart attack, prof.
Look, I've been working with a lot of numbers and arrangements recently, and honestly, I feel like I had something else to ask you, but I've forgotten what it was by now. Still, though.
Yeah, we can arrange 15 gold. I know the circus funds are completely empty after the investment it's in, but and I'll pull out 15 gold. If you can arrange for it.
Well, fantastic. Absolutely. Hopefully it'll buy itself back in the show.
Hopefully.
And then, back into town, the group of you go. Selwyn and Ara setting up for another day. Selwyn, Ara, Arbus, and Barkbeard all working on another day of advertisement, and this being the second day for Arbus and Barkbeard, it will come time for the awkward, aggressive flyer approach to take another shot with a society check.
Oh, baby, look at that. 23.
Get him!
You want to try to
what?
assist?
Of course! No.
13 does not critically fail, though, so you don't make it worse. And with a 23 here, while Arbus is there. Barkbeard, what is your charisma modifier?
0.
You're still able to generate a fair bit of excitement, the two of you, just through almost sheer attrition. You have handed out enough flyers at this point. Just sheer quantity is starting to get your names around, and you get 6 more anticipation for the show, bringing you up to 25, more than your previous tent could possibly have handled. Zerg, meanwhile, back with the roustabouts, and Sig Jones, the bearded man, and at base camp, have the tent entirely together and are starting to put together the stalls and booths of the sideshow that will take up the area around and the walkway in, as well as arranging admissions and getting everything ready for the big night in only 2 days. The following morning, the day before, Selwyn and Ara hoping to reap some final successes from their efforts. Selwyn, are you sticking with the Carnival Barker approach here? It's served good so far. Then give me a society check.
Ooh, a 10.
Ha! Idiot.
That is a natural 1. I'm preoccupied.
You fucking killed Shenmue. He's dead.
I hope so. Laughing at me. The traitor.
I think we're all laughing at you.
You're all traitors. I'm
With a
killing.
natural 1, unfortunately, you are going to find some difficulty, perhaps.
Yeah, get fucked.
Shenmue, turn
That's
this camera off!
Idiot.
Damn it!
Moron.
Shenmue, you
Clown.
bastard!
Now we're laughing at
All
Shinju.
up. Damn you,
I think this
Bryn.
works out. This is great.
Whoop, whoop.
Fucked it all
Colby,
up.
turn your camera off and
Get
back on.
fucked.
Mono, turn your camera off and back on. Damn it, Shenmue!
I was laughing. Fucking
You
Bryn
outplayed
killed
yourself.
it,
You
man.
gamed
You
yourself.
broke the goddamn camera!
Bryn broke
And with a
me.
failure about that level, but from a marketing perspective, Selwyn actually isn't going to be able to generate any further anticipation. Seemingly,
Whatever.
the standing and barking in the market square has some success, but it seemed to have hit everyone that would have been valuable in the first 2 days. And any new faces that are hearing are passing merchants, traders, or even naval sailors who are just in port for a day or two, and their shore leave won't last even until your show tomorrow. A bunch of words and a bunch of flyers falling functionally on deaf ears. Which brings us
I don't think I'm into it anymore.
back to Ara. The last hope here to generate some anticipation for the show. Let's get a society check.
This time, Ara has brought a sack of hand-carved toys, and he's targeting kids, handing toys to kids and flyers to kids.
Actual marketing, that's solid. You
And
just
the
make
same
millions
returns.
if you target kids that don't know any better.
What's Ara's background? He's a barker. You had to do this for the menagerie, kids. I'm gonna session reroll.
He got that out before we could even call him an
You can't
idiot.
even make fun of the natural 1 before he re-rolled it.
I got my
But-
scornful laugh out there before.
If you reroll it fast enough, we can't make fun of you.
It never happened. If you reroll it fast enough, it never
I'm
happened.
seeing that 8 right there, buddy.
So how do I delete the
You
log?
can't erase your sins.
Yeah, but you fell first.
But
So?
weird plant handing out carved small wooden toys to children. You have an innocent enough appearance that despite how outlandish and strange you are, it works. Honestly, it works. Generating another 9 anticipation for the show, meaning that tomorrow morning, your curtain is going to rise with 34 anticipation that you're going to have to meet with equal excitement to put on a successful opening night in Escadar. Now, Arbus and Barkbeard, there's only 1 day left. You don't really have enough time to put in any effective further advertising. So what are you two doing today?
I guess I'll just make sure things are good around, get myself acquainted with. This is my first time at a show, so I'd probably just wander around and kind of get acquainted with the area and how things are going to work.
I would go through the
Final
performance
preps.
with the wolves. Just to
Getting some good
practice.
practice in. So as you are you're practicing, Barkbeard's kind of watching around. By this point, Sniggles seems to have largely gotten a pretty effective act together. At least it's a very entertaining, exceptionally bright and colorful show. Sure to captivate, as long as Sniggles, who is, well, fairly new at this and clearly at least a little bit shy when large numbers of people are involved, can manage to pull it off. That said, I put her show into your journal on Roll20 that you can look at, so you can see what you're dealing with here. And I guess I do want to just point out that her show here involves juggling and waving around a whole bunch of on-fire sparklers and definitely has the injury trait. So she's new at this, and as Lish and Colin are both going to be very well repeatedly making sure you're aware, Sniggles is almost as liable to hurt herself because she is to put on a successful show. But still, her show is damn impressive. Her alchemical expertise and just the things she's able to put together, how bright and how fantastic her works and her sparks and her multicolored fire, it honestly puts almost the rest of your cast to shame in pure spectacle. Again, she is a level 5 trick, so if she pulls it off, it's on level with the rest of you. She's the same level performer as the rest of you. But she's not as consistent, perhaps. Zerg and the rest of the roustabouts and crew put the finishing touches on everything, pulling everything together and ready, and making sure that tomorrow afternoon, evening, at the opening curtain, when the time finally comes, you guys are gonna be ready. And so, opening night in Escadar, my friends. You have one last morning and afternoon here to kind of get yourselves ready, put in any last kind of practice or deal with any final purchases or preparations you want to make. Because when that sun gets ready to set this evening, it's curtain time. Any last minutes, folks?
I'm good.
Finishing up my surprise reserve.
Oil.
Oil.
It's not oil.
Always oil. Oh, there's never enough oil for Zerg.
I agree.
As you all finish your preparations here, and as the afternoon starts to wear on, the sun making its way back down towards the horizon. Holy crap. Zurich 17 tokens around the table. May the dangers be real, but not deadly, as every single one of you is going to receive a hero point to head in
Thanks.
to this opening night with.
Very nice. Very nice.
including me.
I'm the hero. The villain.
I'm the hero of my own story.
At a point.
We all know that's a lie.
So finally, you've done a couple of shows now. So you would think, perhaps, that the anticipation, the jitters, they would reduce as you proceed forward and become more seasoned performers. And certainly they do, to some extent. But tonight, somehow, it almost feels as if there's as much writing on the show as there was in your original opening night back in Aberton. And the very beginning, when you had the livelihood of yourselves and all of the Circus of Wayward Runners on the line. Because here, not only are, again, we directly leeching off the celestial shitty menagerie and Mistress Dusklight on her doorstep in Escadar, this crowd is goddamn huge. It's about doubled in size with each show that you've put on so far. Your initial opening day, an impressive crowd. Your second show, nearly bringing in all of Aberton. But this is something entirely different. Your tent previously could only hold a 20 anticipation worth of people, so it was honestly a few dozen seats, maybe up to around 100. You well over doubled the size of your tent, and you've almost filled it for this first night. The bar is so much higher than it has ever been for the performance before. So as you're readying yourselves backstage, the sideshow out front is doing their best to pull in more, and the admissions booths are going. Gold and tickets flying. Seats filling. What's the plan to start?
Well, I'll go up to Cirque. Cirque?
Da.
A bit of a touchy subject. Do you have a performance without Lizard?
Stop spoiling.
What do you think?
I do not believe there's been much time for you to develop any. And if it's a touchy
Well,
subject...
strongest man is still world's
can I borrow you
strongest
for
man.
a moment, please? And you see Tulip all in her costume with her hat on, and her hat in her hands, rather, but the rest of her costume together. Almost a little red, hurrying up towards you backstage.
of course, what's up?
I don't really know how to put this, love, but I'm just going to say it plainly. There's a strange man came around back. It's been hassling a couple of us, offering us pay raises and coin to leave right now and come work for the Celestial Menagerie, and I don't think it's just coin back in his offers.
Well, in that case, Cirque, would you like to keep the peace tonight?
Gladly.
So do you want to take a non-performer? You're going to security?
Yeah, why not?
Fair enough.
Zerg does have a performance, just to clarify. But, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not because I don't have a performance.
Yeah,
guys.
it's just, I imagine it is a bit raw still, right?
Yes. Well, destruction is performance in and of itself, is it not? Let
he
me finish
still
oiling. I'll
oiling?
get out there.
For security, he's still oiling.
Yeah.
First.
Look, no one's taking him up on it, of course. We're all here. We left the menagerie for our own reasons, but, he's got some folk a fair bit rattled. Oh, the Flambonis aren't feeling great, and, the Cambonis aren't really feeling that they've hidden their kids back in their wagon for now. That new rat of yours has been scared off into hiding, too.
Oh, no.
All right.
Do you think you can go, say something to him, maybe? Just make sure they know they're still safe here, honey.
Yes.
I know you got a handle on it. It's just he's a unsettling type of guy,
Of course.
and it was not much subtlety about his threats.
Of course not. There's not much subtlety about Dusklight.
And he just kind of gestured back to the backstage curtain leading to the grounds where some of your performers are kind of around getting last minute practice and setup ready. So if someone wants to head out and try to go talk to them, it's going to be a diplomacy here to try and calm down your performers.
All right. And I'll tell them, don't worry, Circus on it. We will not tolerate any harassment on Circus grounds, especially not from that stupid cat. It'll all be fine. They're as empty as her talent. She's scared. And she has good reason to. And I will re-roll that.
Good thing we all got 0 points, Lance.
Shit.
I have
There's
2,
a
right?
Bucket of nat ones. You got
Yeah. Okay, good. For a 34.
Oh, for that one, a nat 20, solid.
Yeah.
Baby.
So you flip that over, and obviously everyone is pretty comfortable to hear that. And I'm hearing that Zerg has volunteered to do security here, and everyone knows Zerg is going to be a pretty good amount of safety blanket for everyone. You managed to convince Sniggles to come back out of hiding and come back around, who doesn't really understand what's going on, but as she explains, that man didn't seem very nice. I don't feel like he actually was offering money.
No, he's what we call an asshole. It'll be fine, though. You're safe here.
You should have a lot of people. Yeah.
Oh, not to worry. You'll be performing with other performers, so you won't be alone.
There's a have you seen how many people are in the tent?
Oh,
Yes,
It's a big
I have.
circus.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you the same thing I told Bartholomew on the first night. That is, just focus on you. Focus on your own show.
Right.
It doesn't matter how many there are. It doesn't matter what they think. Ultimately, it's... And
Isn't the whole point of a circus what they think, though?
That's a side bonus. It doesn't matter, ultimately. What matters is you're having fun.
At this point, Ara actually enters into the tent, directing to Rousebelt, carrying a large bundle of something. Where's Zerg?
He wants to do security.
Oh, is he not doing a show tonight?
Nope.
Dang. You can set it down right here.
Let's put
Pop it
down.
down.
How big is this bundle?
It's about as tall as Zerg is. A little bit taller.
He's got a big something wrapped up here.
What is that?
It's a surprise for Zerg.
Okay.
Can I peek?
Oh. I just unbundled. It's a statue. It's just a statue of Lizard, like, flexing.
Oh.
And there's a shield sitting at his feet, and I've casted Continual Flame on the shield, so it's always... And it says underneath, may he light your way.
That is one of the nicest things I've ever seen.
It was going to be a prop in the ring with it.
Very nice.
That's pretty
There's going to be a chance for it later.
That way
pretty
Lizard's
good.
with us.
So Zerg, are you have you headed off to start doing bouncer duty yet, or are you still back here?
No, yeah, he's already wandered off.
He's off for now.
Looking for skulls to crack.
As you are out around the front here, just kind of watching the crowds filter in as the tent starts to swell and the real bulk of the audience starts to show up. It's about 15 minutes to curtain. You notice a few people, obviously not everyone that comes to look comes in and buys a ticket. A lot of people are just like, well, that's a big ass tent, that's neat. Peeks at the sideshow and leaves, and this is part of how it is. Not everyone gets converted. But you notice a decent number of people start to walk away back into Escadar who appear to have tickets but are leaving. Zerg, that's what you notice.
I noticed that.
Yes, out
Sorry.
front doing the security.
Sorry. I was waiting for someone else to say something like, that's weird. Someone do something about
No,
that.
they're all backstage. This is you out front.
It's all you, man.
And someone is you, yeah.
Hey, wait, where do you go? Show us this way.
And as you stop a couple that are turned away, they stop and the man turns to you. Oh, apologies, sir, and holds up the ticket. And as you can see it, it's not your ticket. It's a silver embossed ticket with an ornate CM logo across the middle. He just holds that up. Let's see the show tomorrow. It's cheaper and a bigger venue. And
Can I see this
turns and-
ticket?
No, I bought this.
I just want to look at it.
And he kind of looks at you. It looks like he wants to protest, but you're an incredibly large man. And just sort of holds the ticket out to you. His wife kind of clinging to him, like, what's happening? He holds the ticket out to you.
Snatch it out of his hand. CM. You want to go to a cattle market? Why you go to cattle market? This is circus.
The man just looks confused. But it's a ticket for the Celestial Menagerie show. But tomorrow evening. Not sure where he went, but the man sold it to us over there. Much cheaper, much better deal. We can wait a night.
How about this? This ticket's still good for entry here. You come here, you go there tomorrow, but you come here tonight and tell me which man give you this.
And he kind of looks at his wife, and his wife just sort of nods.
2 shows for price of 1 is pretty good.
Uh,
I am leaning in.
can't argue with that, I suppose. This ticket will get us in the door.
I'll make sure of it.
Alrighty, so you have a couple of options. If you want to go tell the ticket booths here to accept these counter tickets, you can certainly do that.
Yeah,
you can have them
I'll-
let those in as well.
Zoe will just run up to the door and be like, look out for the flashy tickets.
All right. So as you do that, you're not making any money off of those tickets. So mechanically, your anticipation is going to go down a bit because that just really determines how much money your show makes. And a portion of your audience is now coming in having given their coin to menagerie scalpers that are out in the crowd out front. But despite your best efforts, it appears that once they have seen you handling the situation, they may have just disappeared entirely because you see no sign of any more of this carrying on. Backstage, the question remains, who's going to go on first? With just a few minutes to curtain Selwyn, who's going to begin the show?
Barkbeard.
Offer
It
down
is-
up immediately.
It is circus custom here, or it is now, that new performers will be the opening act.
Perfect.
tradition-
I am.
It started with the late Bartholomew, and will continue here.
Well, I am very confident in my act, and I think it will be quite impressive. I am excited to try it out.
I'm excited to view it.
All right, Barkbeard. Sounds like you're going to be the opener here. So,
Haha.
as you head out to start the show, the Escadar's opening act, you stride out into a, well, to be fair, technically the tent is less packed than your previous one, but it's a way bigger tent, and there's almost twice as many people as were in here at the previous shows. What look like almost 300 people who have come through this evening to see the Circus of Wayward Wonders and their traveling show competing with the Menagerie. And as you head out, Selwyn, are you still ringmastering for this? You still introducing?
Yes.
You're on, friend.
Alright. And I will be in Thunder's attire. Top hat, cane, coat, all of it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, do we have a show for you? From wonders from all across the world, things you've never seen before. Not one, but 2 sentient plants who will probably make an appearance. Who knows what the night will bring? From the forest of Aberton himself, it is Barkbeard, and I'll introduce him.
So you would see Barkbeard come out from behind the curtain, walking, and I know this sounds bad, but walking extremely woodenly, like very stick-legged, like very stiff, walking out, and totally straight-faced. Walks out to the center of the ring, and off to the side comes rolling out a huge like harpoon gun crossbow, and it goes, and a man loads in this crossbow and starts cranking it, and Barkbeard is basically staring blank-faced at the crowd, totally wooden, blank, no sounds, nothing,
totally
just
wooden.
totally. Yes, well, now it's exceptionally so, and just staring out of the crowd. Not really doing a whole lot, but this the crank is just kind of going and going as this crossbow gets pulled back and aimed at him. I guess that's when I would roll.
Yep, and then you can go ahead and roll your trick.
Well, it's not terrible, so I guess I'll. I should probably.
We know the success criteria, right? Isn't it 20?
Isn't it might be different from a bigger show. I don't know. I may.
I think. I'm trying to think the meta-ness. I guess at this point, as 5th level performers, you'd be pretty well aware of what does put together a successful act, what does constitute. Yeah, I don't think it's meta knowledge to know that a 20 is a success.
Oh, okay. So they would roll back and just let loose. They would, without really any warning or any lights or flashes or anything, they just let go of the bolt, and it just slinks into the side of Barkbeard, who takes it very straight-faced and does not move at all. And then they load another crossbow. and so then they start loading very slowly, cranking, totally straight-faced, nothing, no real sounds, and they start loading another crossbow bolt.
All right. So, as you're staying there, the crowd seems impressed as you just stand there and a crossbow gets blasted into you to no reaction. That's one action. Are you gonna perform again?
Yeah. So I'll
what
just.
traits does your trick have, by the way? What trait?
It was the
Is it agile?
wasn't one of the traits that it was that it was like dangerous. Or
Yeah,
is
you
not
have
one
that
of the traits?
automatically because you're using a saving throw. You don't have to pick
Oh,
that.
okay.
You automatically
Oh,
have
okay, I didn't
that's a
know.
bonus trait because you're using a saving throw. So you can still have like agile.
Okay, so I'll do agile.
Because
Fine.
really there's not like a strongman one.
Yeah. Okay, then
So
yeah.
then you'll take a minus
so yeah.
4 to a second trick.
Perfect. We'll try that again. Oh, and then I will re-roll that with my daily roll, because we want to do much better. So with the 24,
The 24. What's happening?
I get again with literally no forewarning and no hype. another crossbow just goes thunk into the side of this tree.
This is the weirdest
then-
goddamn circus trick I've ever seen in my life.
And then the tree slowly bows and very stick-legged walks out of the arena. And that's the whole trick.
Well, the crowd almost seems confused at first, as you've been taking 2 of these huge harpoons sticking out of you and is seemingly completely unfazed. The crowd is impressed. They're not positive what they just watched, but it was sure as hell impressive. And succeeding twice, you are going to generate 10 excitement for the show. And good news for Zerg, as you are out around watching the crowds, watching the entryways. Nothing really appears to be going wrong, and it doesn't seem like, at least as of yet, there's no drunks to be worried about. We're not serving beer. However, we are serving some confections, and Selwyn, as you went in and provided for those, do you want to roll the 2d6 to see how much excitement they generate?
Sure, I'll high roll. Well, actual average.
Exactly average roll.
All right, that's fine.
So with 17 excitement coming out, with the opening act here, you're already solidly halfway to a successful performance. Selwyn, as you are out ringmastering for this, Barkbeard's performing and Zerg is on security. Ara and Arabis, you'd both be backstage kind of readying and preparing. Why don't the 2 of you give me perception checks?
Okay.
Got a nice 16.
21.
With a 21, as you are around with your pair of wolves now that you have. Is Shield part of your performance yet? Or is it still
Not
just
yet, no.
Not yet?
No, just Sako.
So as you're around, I mean, they're still both back there, though. So Masako
Yeah.
and Shield both together. You kind of floating around nearby. You would just barely notice a man kind of just lurking around who you don't recognize, who's made his way backstage. He is dressed up in a green, almost bright green jacket, drawn across a fairly fine white dress shirt and vest. But he has a pair of long, straight horns rising up out from his forehead. He's making no particular, he's not like Metal Gear Soliding back here, making no particular attempt to hide. He's just kind of in the shadows off to the side of the tent, back almost largely in the shadows, just hidden behind some of your crates and supplies, just sort of out of the way. As you look and see the man, you can notice he's got some odd facial tattoos coming all the way down the sides of his face and around his chin, almost like where facial hair would be, across the entirety of his face, in a dark green tint. He's not doing anything, but you definitely don't recognize him.
I would nudge Ara, who's right next to me probably, and point him out. I think he's not supposed to be back here.
Well, let's go talk to him.
Okay.
I approach him, waving.
As he sees the group of you, he kind of cocks his head a bit and raises an eyebrow, and a strange little smile twists his face. Hello.
Who are you?
Blue Crescent. And you're performers, I take it?
Yeah. You sure your name's not Green?
Yeah, you're wearing a lot of green.
Well,
You
regardless of the name, the color never seemed to fit me terribly well.
So,
Interesting
what are you doing
production
back
you've
here?
gotten. Oh, just taking a look around. I've always been interested in the inner workings of a circus, and you've got quite the show here.
Well, we've been told that only performers and roustabouts are allowed back here, so you're gonna have to go back out to the audience and watch from there. Yes.
That's well and fair enough, I suppose. Best of luck to you. What is it they say? Break a leg? There's that plays.
I just
suppose-
watch him.
Same.
These two are just staring at this dude.
Weirdos.
Just looks back and forth. Suppose I'll find my way out the way I found my way in. And then just turns and heads back out towards the flap slitting outside. And Zerg, as he leaves backstage, you see this man heading out the back. Again, a person you clearly don't recognize here, out from the backstage area and then just making his way out. And just leaving your grounds around to the front to the sideshow, the place people are allowed to be.
I'm gonna run up after him.
Okay.
Describe him. Is he tall?
He's a pretty tall guy. He's tall, relatively lean. His most remarkable features either the facial tattoos all the way down in place of a beard and sideburns, and these two enormous, 6-inch long, near perfectly straight horns rising up from his forehead. And as he...
I'm going to put a hand on his shoulder. Excuse me.
That times. Well, yes, my large fellow. Kind of reaches down to a pocket and pulls out a cigarette. Smoke?
Yes, please.
As he hands you a cigarette and fishes around and pulls out another one.
What you doing back there in the place? Thanks for the smoke, by the way. It's been a while. I tried to quit. Circus life is hard. What you do back there, huh?
I was just taking a look at the workings of your show. Interesting.
You like this?
Some balls bringing a traveling circus around to Escadar. Surprisingly
Why
impressive.
this?
Wouldn't have thought anyone would have done it. Now that I see
Is there
you,
not
though.
2 circuses here? We are not even the first.
Indeed. And he fists down his other pocket and flips up the top on a small little metal lighter and lights up his cigarette and then lights it and holds it out to you.
Thank you.
He takes a puff of it, and as he blows out, he blows the smoke out in a couple of rings and then shoots almost a line of smoke through the rings that floats out into the air in front of him.
Damn.
So, why Escadar of all places? I assume you're with the circus folk then. You could go anywhere in
Yes.
Starstone Isles and you come to the place that's got the most competition.
We do not like the other ones very much. We just kind of end up here. It's kind of messy. We got bad history with those people. They're not very nice.
I've heard much the same from many before you. Anyway, he pats around some of his pockets a bit and up into a breast pocket and reaches inside his jacket and pulls out a ticket. Not a CM ticket, one of your tickets. I shouldn't work my way backstage, but I bought my ticket. Am I still good to go in after this smoke?
Enjoy the show.
This guy's a fucking baller, dude.
It's blue. I know.
Zerg.
My friends have probably made the joke already about the green outfit.
People do not call me green, but sometimes I think they do behind my back. We have a lot in common.
Well, pleasure to make your acquaintance, Zerg. Hope your
Likewise.
circus can find its feet here.
Yeah, me
Well,
too. I'm fucking hungry as hell.
Blue and Zerg are having a smoke out front after a pretty wildly successful opening act. I'm sorry, I just assumed you weren't going to attempt to do a third act, because you totally can if you want to.
What, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was very happy with my 2 acts.
Yeah, you had a third act, like you
I
totally
left.
could have performed it. I literally just assumed you weren't going to.
No,
so,
I mean,
like,
I did
that's
say
my
that I
bad.
left.
Oh, did
I mean,
okay, no,
I said that I
was-
just walked out.
I got wound up and blew the baller here. So, as Barkbeard and Selwyn come back, what's your next performance? You've got the build-up now. You need a right and a left ring.
Let's find the opposite elements. Let's put mortar in an aura.
Okay, fair enough. You want the fire and the water going out?
Mm-hmm.
And Mordrain just heaves a sigh. Fine. Hanzu, ready my things.
Don't drown this time.
Fuck you, Selwyn.
I'm sure you'll do fine.
Oh, wouldn't you love to?
He just kind of looks you up and down. and turns steps back off. So she gets her things ready, and some of the tight ropes are brought out for Aura to perform. You and Mordrain are sent out into opposite rings, and the crowd is already more than excited after the strange but wondrous performances of Barkbeard's Bulwark. Is that what we went with? What was the name? We made a name. I have it on this poster. Hold on.
Yeah, it is the Bulwark, yeah. It is, yeah, Barkbeard the Bulwark.
Barkbeard the Bulwark. You're like, what am I called? Right, Barkbeard
I'm like,
the
I couldn't
Bulwark.
remember. I was trying
It's
to
my
think. I
first
didn't have
show.
it
Don't
written
make fun of me. You guys are going to get a +1 to your trick checks from the crowd being so warmed up from a successful opening act here. And Aura, as your tight ropes are prepared, as is your fire and your oil and your rings, how are you going to start the show?
I'm actually going to wait for Mordrain. I'm going to be in step with her, pantomiming, pretty much shadowing her entire act up on the tripwire.
All right. So as Mordrain starts up, Mordain starts up. I don't know why I want to call her Mordrain every single
Because
time.
it's a bitter name.
It just rolls off the tongue so much
Yeah,
better.
it
I'm gonna
is.
literally change her name to Mordrain because I just cannot say Mordain. I don't know why it will not.
I thought it was
I think
Mordrain
it's
the
because I
entire
kept.
time.
I think it's because I kept calling him Mordrain.
You
'cause I
fucked it up so many times that I've been infected by the Mordrain disease. So Mordain heads up. Her tank
accept
rolled
it.
out by fucking it. She's Mordrain now. As Mordrain rolls her tank out, she makes the big show, the dance of rising up the step stool to the side of her tank. Her hands in front of her as the roustabouts put the shackles on her wrist. And she moves, slow, flourishing, but showing in this dance of hers her restraint as she steps down into the tank and sinks again into that fetal position as it is sealed and locked above her, where she is going to attempt her fortitude save, which she is going to succeed, bringing the show to more excitement. And as she begins, Aura, almost pantomiming her dance.
Shadowing her, yes. So I do the same, pretty much the same steps and motions, and I put my hands together like they've too been shackled. And I kind of, as best I can on a tripwire, shadow her entire dance till I get to the first hoop on fire, and I just kind of gracefully leap through it and go down in the fetal position like she is on the next tripwire. And hopefully, I'm gonna roll. What was my two? I chose Intimidate and Fortitude, right?
Probably. I assumed you would have
I'm
written
assuming
it.
I've
Sounds
written it down
somewhere.
now.
That sounds right to me.
I'm gonna do a Fortitude and check with her for a 25.
A 25 for you will be successful as well, generating 5 excitement, bringing you up to 24. And as Mordain continues her act here, again, kind of feigning her plight, but with possibly a little bit more seriousness this time based on what happened to her last time. Maybe a trickle of doubt in the back of her mind. Her show is going to continue as seemingly trapped inside this tank, her hands bound together. She turns away from the crowd and works to undo her shackles. And she's going to succeed again. Turning back around towards the crowd, with the shackles held in one hand and her hands free, she starts to feel up towards the top of the tank that's still sealed. Bringing us over to Aura.
I guess I'm getting no cue from someone to fall back, so I'm just gonna keep doing my show in full stride. While down in the fetal position, I'm gonna kind of walk slowly toward, like not standing back up towards the next ring. It's on fire, and turn around, put my back to the crowd, and do the exact same she did. Fiddle with the act like I'm fiddling with the shackles. Jump back through the next ring, put my hands above me, and then just fall off the tripwire.
So are you rolling for it, or are you just coasting?
I'm gonna roll for it.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll Intimidate.
So you got -5. We got
Plus
+1 from the successful opener and +1 from your fire trait.
So
13.
that?
It's not a critical failure, so it's not going to generate any excitement. It's just it's well enough. It's just not typically exciting, or not terribly exciting. That said, though, your performance, the opening of your act with the fire, and just the level of your skill is impressive enough that both you and Mordain, as she finishes up her act, she's absolutely going to take the coast. She's not going to take any risks after what happened last show, making her way up out of the tank with a flourish, safe, sound, both with her act of magic and also, honestly, an impressive amount of time down the tank. She rises up to her finish. And, Ara?
as she rises up, I just fall down and just hands above my hand, hands above my hand, hands above my head, bow, and just turn around and walk off.
So with a greatly successful build-up to the show as well, the crowd is absolutely digging it at this point. You have the 26 excitement of your 34 anticipation, and with a successful build-up, you get to pick one of those two tricks, either Mordain's level 2 or Ara's level 5, and you can add that much anticipation onto your show, raising the bar if
5.
you choose to. You want to add 5?
Yep.
Going big or going home. 39. You got some shoes to fill with the big number here. As the pair retire backstage, both of you having performed spectacularly.
I hold my hand up for a high five from Mordain.
Mordain will look down, and with a bit of a smirk, she'll actually reach down and touch your hand. You did good, surprisingly. Almost as good as
I was
me.
only following the best.
That gets a grin out of her.
Ah.
So with this 5, the first trick check of the big number is going to get a +2 bonus, half of his trick level from the 5. Who's taking the big one? Because you know that if the big number is successful, you're going to get an extra big old pile of excitement equal to the trick's level again. Oh, you got an extra +1, actually. You're at 27. 28 even. You both used 2 trick traits, didn't you? Or checks.
Correct.
So, yeah, you both succeeded with 2 different checks. You're at 28 out of 39 right now. Who's your big number?
I am.
I am the big number.
I am not just a clown. I am the entire circus.
So at this point, Blue Crescent has finished his smoke and headed back inside. Zerg's back on active duty here, watching around. Still hasn't seen anything terrible take place. Selwyn heads out into the center ring for the big show.
So it's only on the first check on the.
The first check gets a +2 bonus
Okay.
from the successful build-up.
In that case, it's time to make use of that spotlight we got. And 2 dummies are brought out. And my first action is grabbing out 2 short swords, slashing them through the first dummy, and my swords ignite.
As your swords ignites and you begin this performance, you hear a voice from near right next to you. I want you to know I really am sorry about this. Tenebris! And with that incantation, for a brief moment, you see a man appear next to you as the center ring is plunged into complete darkness. And with that, there's a moment of confusion in the crowd as they completely lose sight of the big number, what everything's been building up to, the main act, before a voice calls out from the crowd. "Oh, what is this amateur performance? I can't even see anything. We paid good money for this." And you see, bright
All right,
pink
where is
vest,
that pink fucking Gambison?
Delamar Gyanvin standing up in the crowd. The crowd, realizing they can't see anything, as very quick to join in his derisive scorn here. What's happening in the center ring is incredibly evident to everybody. So is the fact that this man that all of you, or most of you, would recognize from the meeting in the city council hall is clearly come to put a stop to this. Anyone, what do you do?
Ah, yes, the expected saboteur. Come at last to disrupt the final competitor. How fortuitous.
And he stands up. How? And takes a step out into the main aisle. How ridiculous! I come to enjoy a good evening's entertainment. And because I simply want the best for my and these people's coin, you turn your failures to me.
There's only one man in this entire town with a gambit as big as yours. Do not try to hide it.
And he looks around to some of the crowd and says some things down and clearly to some people. Some shaking of heads next to him. And you can see a woman come out into the aisle kind of near him, following along, kind of shadowing him as he advances. And unlike Delamar, who doesn't appear to have much more than a simple sword at his side, it's pretty standard, she looks like she is very well kitted for a fight. She's dressed fairly nicely. She's got a long bow across her shoulder with a hand on it and a quiver at her hip. Her hair drawn up into bright red spikes all across her head, and her eyes narrow as she looks down at Selwyn and back towards Zerg, watching across for any kind of reaction you might make.
Can you send Frederick out there to get some light?
I cast Frederick.
And as you cast your spell, as Frederick heads into this darkness, it's dispelled immediately.
Yeah, it's a negative.
Now, as a spellcaster, you would be able to tell immediately that tells you that this is a magical effect, putting this darkness over the stage. You could possibly dispel it, but you're not going to be able to send a simple cantrip in there to light through it.
Yeah. You don't know how to dispel magic, do you?
I know how to, but I did not prepare for this today.
I'm gonna stare at Delamar, whatever his name is. I'm just gonna give him the look.
And Delamar looks more than pleased with himself here, as he's just standing in the aisle, arms crossed, just watching as the crowd in a near instant turns entirely against you, feeling cheated as this main event is just darkness in the ring and they can't see anything.
Well then,
I will also cast light.
And yeah, with your cast would be dismissed as well, as it's like
so is the darkness
gets automatically countered.
Is the darkness only in the center ring?
The darkness does only seem to be covering the center ring. I mean, all of you see this. Zerg, you see this too on security. Any of you can do anything. And backstage near Ara and Arabis here, the professor, hearing the derision of the crowd, comes out. What on earth is happening out there?
This is sabotage.
Yeah, someone cast magical darkness on the center ring.
Well, don't just let him do it. Do something. Can you not remove this?
Question. Can I alter a prepared spell? Is that a thing I can redo?
Not in second edition.
No.
Not without a feat or something.
Okay.
Well, I have one idea, but I don't know if it'll work.
We got.
I go take the shield that has continual flame cast on it and carry it over to the darkness off the lizard statue.
Well,
I don't think it'll work, but
continual flame is a second level spell.
yes, it is.
Huh.
So unless he casts it as a higher level, then
As you bring out this statue and wheel it up into the darkness, the statue's light, too, is going to be extinguished.
that's what I thought.
And Delamar calls out, "Absolute waste of time, waste of my coin, waste of all of our fair coin. Are there going to be refunds?"
How tall is the tent?
The tent's probably like 100 feet. It's a huge tent.
So
Probably
can
like 80 to 100 feet tall. You got like room for trapeze acts and stuff in here.
Who was gonna say
Zerg's
something?
gonna work his way over to
Uh-oh.
cunts.
I'm gonna go looking for the rat.
How much does the darkness cover?
The darkness seems to be... It's covering about the center ring. It's about the exact size of the center ring.
Can someone just move her act to another ring?
If I move into another ring, would I be out of the darkness?
As you move, so you can't really see out of it. You can't see really where it ends. And as you make your way out through this pitch blackness out into another ring, it's still enshrouded in darkness. Everybody around this would be able to see the bubble follow along with Selwyn.
Well then,
And Zerg, you make your way over to Delamar.
Yeah.
All right, as he's standing clear in the aisle here between two sets of bleachers, right in the front, he turns and sees you. "What, are you here to return my coin to me, good sir? This ridiculous
Yes.
farce of a performance."
Yes, I'm here to give you a refund. Let me get a little closer.
Oh no.
All right, you
I
walk
just want to get
him.
up to the point where I'm within arm's reach at the very least.
Yeah, you can definitely just walk up with an arm's reach of him.
And I'm gonna just punch him in the face. Just a punch in the face.
With this, he seems like this is largely the opportunity he's been waiting for. And as he sees you step forward, almost knowing, the grin just spreads on his face further. And he takes a small step back, reaching for his rapier, and calls out, "Help! Help! They're attacking me!" as he draws his sword, trying to turn this further against you.
I would like to intimidate him to get him to admit that he is the one sabotaging our show.
Oh boy.
You
taken-
did it! Tell everybody what you have done!
As
Where's
you
my-
step up, you go to take the swing, and he cries out he's being attacked. Him making an equally big show of this, trying to create a scene as large as possible. He calls out again, "This man is accosting me! Help!" Swinging out with his rapier. Next week, we roll initiative.
You're a cunt.
Next week, the Celestial Menagerie's most direct sabotage will have to be addressed one way or another. And we're going to have to see what we can do about Delamar's interjection. And it was all but a certainty something was going to happen here. And I think, Zerg, it seems like you're going to get more than an opportunity to beat some skulls that you're looking for. And Selwyn, perhaps, may get more than an opportunity to beat the single specific skull that you want to beat, as he is quite the performer as well. And he's going to escalate this, and, well, regardless of whose side the audience is going to be on, this show must go on. We can't let these showstoppers bring us to ruin. Chat, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here. Next Monday, fuck the Celestial Menagerie.
fuck the Celestial Menagerie.
I think we could all solidly agree on that one. Good night, everyone. Best of luck with the remainder of your show, friends.